Yeah, just catching Fede Valverde at just the wrong time. The Uruguay captain, he's in among the goals, as we witnessed, as Man City found out recently. He starts as skipper for Uruguay tonight. Interestingly, there, Keeper Muslera is back. He turns 40 during the World Cup, and I'm not entirely convinced the World Cup isn't anything to do with him coming back. In terms of the England skipper, Jordan Henderson, 10th time he's captained England, 89th cap tonight. Stuart Pearce, you're a big fan of Jordan Henderson. You can see that. I mean, Thomas Tuchel's talked about the leadership group and who's in it. Jordan Henderson is in that number, isn't he?
100% he is. And, you know, I know Harry Kane is the captain of this team normally. But I tell you what, you only had to be in a stadium in lockdown with nobody in the stadium listening to Jordan Henderson cajole and encourage. You could hear him from the stands. When we played against Liverpool, I was sat in the stands. It was incredible. I've seen it firsthand with myself with the under-21s. An incredible individual.
Did you people who talked all the time like that, do you ever feel like telling them to shut up?
Only yourself, really.
Thanks,
but
cheers.
Aside from that, no.
Come kick-off, 45 minutes, I'll give it a rest. OK, yeah. No problem at all. Just some of the other England players involved tonight. Livramento back from injury, came on for Newcastle at half-time in Barcelona when Newcastle crumbled. Not saying it was down to him. Harry Maguire's an interesting one. England's highest scoring defender ever, 64 caps, 7 goals. Hasn't scored in his last 23 internationals. Hasn't played for ages. This is the first time a Man United player has played under Thomas Tuchel, which absolutely amazed me when I realised it.
Quite an incredible stat when you consider what a powerhouse they were supplying players under the Alex's era. But what you've got to say about Maguire, and this is why I admire people like Maguire. He was under the pump, a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of hot air around him. I remember we played an England game at Old Trafford, and I made it my business to go and see him and say, keep doing what you're doing. I admire you for what you're doing. He shook off the criticism and he's back out here wearing an England shirt. And to be fair, I think some of his performances warranty him playing, and Mainoo's similar as well, you know, got back into the squad. Things not going so well at club level, but there's a burning ambition that Maguire wants to represent England. He always has done. I remember giving him his first cap when he was an under-21 back. I think we played at Blackpool actually, and he played that day. But listen, they talk to me about people that are passionate to play for the country. Harry Maguire falls into that category big time.
Talking to the under-21s, I think there's been a goal in the England under-21 game. Ian Abrams.
Andorra 1, England 0. Ball in from the left-hand side, stuck home by the captain, Soler. First goal England have conceded in the qualifying. Andorra 1, England 0.
Well, in terms of the senior side, Dominic Solanke is the man tasked with scoring the goals. He's the striker that starts tonight. 3 England sub-appearances. He's played 48 minutes in an England shirt. He's now 28, Stuart, which I found hard to believe it. I think this is possibly even an unexpected opportunity, especially given the season Spurs are having.
Yeah, I don't think he's set the world alight this year, and it's a great opportunity for him, and that's how I would see it. If I was him, I was saying, I've got to be the best player on the pitch tonight, really, to get a tilt this summer, and that should be his proviso.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be waiting on the bench. So these players that we're talking about who might have an outside chance or an opportunity to prove something tonight, they're in the tunnel right now. How are they feeling? Are they nervous, excited, bit of both?
I think you're always a bit of both playing for England. I always was. There's a nervousness about it. But you're always... my mentality was I'm playing for 2 caps here. One is tonight and one is I'm going to play well enough to make sure the manager has to pick me next time.
Yeah, it's really interesting that this is for a place at the World Cup. And Thomas Tuchel has made that clear. The split squad makes it even clearer. And so there's so much pressure on tonight's game. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but from a player's point of view, we'll learn whether they can handle that pressure. That's got to be good for Tuchel. He will find out so much about those players.
Yeah, and I think it was a sensible call, actually, leaving certain players out. You don't need them around. You certainly can't be juggling 35-odd players on a training pitch on a daily basis. So I think it was a real sensible call from him and his coaches.
David Beckham on Drive earlier saying England can definitely win the World Cup. I'm not sure everybody is entirely convinced about that. We've talked about the conditions weather-wise out there, the temperature is going to be and humidity there's going to be for England to deal with. I suppose others have got to deal with it as well, Stuart, but if England are going to do it, they're all going to have to be at the very best. We know that.
Exactly that. We're going to have to harmony within the squad. You're going to have the luck of the draw. Everything's got to go our way. And for me, any given day that you play the opposition, you've got to have probably 8 players playing 8 out of 10.
Teams on the way out. Uruguay in Group H at the World Cup should qualify from a group with Spain, Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia playing games in Miami and Guadalajara. Uruguay's last game, they lost 5-1 to the USA in a friendly. And there's a split opinion on Marcelo Bielsa, a man we know well, the Uruguay head coach. He's under pressure here tonight. I think half the country is against him, half in favour. Luis Suarez retired a couple of years ago, had a right go at Marcelo Bielsa, and that lit the blue touch paper as far as he was concerned. But that will be put aside tonight. He needs a good performance. They want to win this, Uruguay. There's no question about it. Teams are lined up for the national anthems, and we will start with the Uruguay national anthem. It's called Easterners, the Country or the Tomb. Longest national anthem in the world, but this is going to be the shortened version. Done. I can't see a Bielsa bucket, by the way, but we'll watch out for that in the technical area. He described himself as toxic in the build-up to this. Well, Wembley full, Wembley loud, Wembley proud and getting ready for the World Cup. Thomas Tuchel's made it clear these two friendlies offer players the chance to book a ticket to the greatest football show on earth this summer. Pressure is on, play well or you'll be on a beach somewhere listening to it all on Talksport. England against Uruguay. Here's former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Talksport England commentator Jim Proudfoot.
Adrian, thank you, and a very good evening to you for the first international of the year that England fans hope will become synonymous with success. 2026, the World Cup barely 10 weeks away, and a sense of cautious optimism to go with the battle-scarred realism induced by the last 60 years. And that supporters' optimism will be honed by what happens over the next 2 games. For the players this week can be much more significant. Thomas Tuchel's mind, they're already categorised. The definites and probables, the possibles and unlikelies all together in a long list of 37. A bumper squad that needs thinning down, being funnelled into the 26 for the tournament, every moment having the potential to shape decisions for who makes the plane and who makes the 11. For some, the margin for error is far greater than it is for others. Tonight might be the last chance for one or two to stake a claim. Several big hitters given the night off ahead of Tuesday's game against Japan. That team will almost certainly bear far more resemblance to the 11 picked for the World Cup opener against Croatia. So whilst tonight's result is a means to an end, this game against the Uruguayan side in the top 20 in the world could be the be-all and end-all for some of those in England red. This is how they line up. Trafford in goal. Livramento, Tomori, Maguire and Spence. Captain Jordan Henderson has Ghana making his debut, and Foden ahead of him, with Madueke and Rashford wide and Dominic Solanke up front. On the bench, Pickford, Steele and Ramsdale, Hall, White, Wharton and Stones, Mainu, Barnes, Bowen, Palmer and Calvert-Lewin. And for Uruguay, Fernando Muslera in goal, Varela, Ronald Araujo, Oliveira and Piquerez, Ugarte, Valverde and De Arrascaeta in midfield, Canobio and Maxi Araujo wide, and Aguirre up front. Referee tonight, Sven Jablonski from Germany. There is VAR, and also after a change in international footballing regulations, now in a position that there can be 8 subs tonight for the Japan game on Tuesday. There will be 11. I look forward to that. This, a night where there's the need to impress, ahead of the difficult decisions to be made. If Thomas Tuchel was naming his squad for the World Cup right now, half of those involved this evening wouldn't be on the plane. A night with Uruguay that will shape who gets a boarding pass and who's going to be left at the gate. England in their new away kit, red shirts, dark blue shorts, kicking from left to right. Early touch for James Trafford, making his England debut this evening after excelling for the under-21s over the last few seasons. A quick exchange of passes with Harry Maguire. Good to see Stuart Pearce, Harry Maguire back involved for England, having only started one of the last 26 games for his country.
Yeah, listen, we're talking about a man that's oozing experience at international level as well as club level, and also knows the landscape of tournaments as well. So if he's on the aeroplane, he'll certainly be he'll do England a lot of justice, I think.
And Noni Madueke playing the ball back for Fikayo Tomori to his left-hand side for Maguire. Played on by Maguire through the midfield. England with plenty of possession in these early stages. Dom Solanke just dropping deep. Now work wide out towards Marcus Rashford. Jed Spence will take over just outside the penalty area. Right-footed ball swung in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Muslera comes out, punches it clear. Livramento almost able to pick it up. Will be brought down by Madueke, who will recycle it back for Jordan Henderson. This is a really bright start from England, attacking with real purpose and vigour down their right, and they win a throw level with the edge of the Uruguayan box.
Yeah, it's a player I'm really looking forward to seeing tonight. I've not seen as much of Ghana this season as I would have liked to have done, but certainly my contacts at Everton with Moisey and the coaching staff, they really like this kid, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in an England shirt, another one that's come through the ranks of 21 level and know what it's like to win in an international shirt.
Yeah, he's won 17 caps for the under-21s. He's missed only 10 minutes of Premier League football so far this season, as we were talking about in the build-up as well. He's got that versatility with the ability to play at right back if needed, and more than capable filling in that position at club level. That kind of versatility can only endear to any international manager. Ghana involved here as England win a free kick, which Phil Foden's going to go across to take. Feels like a big night for Phil, without a goal in 20 since September 2023. He's only scored in 2 of his last 44 England internationals. He is one whose place on the plane is very uncertain at the moment, which would have been unthinkable a couple of years ago. Stands over this free kick, which is 20 yards outside the penalty area. Lots of air underneath it. Headed back towards the edge of the box where Jordan Henderson will be able to nod it back in. And then Madueke, who's just shaping to hit a left-footed volley towards goal. And it was knocked away at the nick of time by Oliveira, that out for the first corner.
Yeah, England have done well. They, got the kick-off. We were a little bit slow with our kick-off, went sideways and backwards, but since then we certainly pinned the Uruguayans in a little bit and forced the first corner of the game.
Corner which will be taken on the England left flank. And Uruguay have got everybody back inside their own penalty area. Corner will be taken in front of the travelling supporters, about 2,000 of them from Uruguay. And he comes towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Maguire attacking that, but has only looped a header onto the roof of the net and out of play for a goal kick. Marcelo Bielsa has plenty of experience, of course. It's 26 years since he last faced England, which was back in the 2000, or since he first faced England, I beg your pardon, back in 2000. He coached Argentina here at Wembley. And then his Argentina side beaten by England in the 2002 World Cup with a penalty from Sir David Beckham, who you heard from exclusively on Drive earlier on Talksport. Very confident that England can win the World Cup. They've got some defending to do here. England's back four dropping off as the Uruguayans work the ball out towards the right-hand side. Maxi Araujo gives chase to a cross that comes in from the right. Trafford can come out and comfortably claim it. And thought about bowling it out immediately for Spence. Thinks better of that, and just drops it down at the feet of Fikayo Tomori instead to bring forth. 4 gone here on Talksport. It's 0-0.
Yeah, good interaction there in midfield by Uruguay, and they managed to bump through the press by England, but fortunately a decent sort of semi-block, and then it fell beautifully for Trafford to start the next attack.
James Trafford started the first 3 Premier League games of the season for Manchester City, but none since. But he was in excellent form here on Sunday in the League Cup final that we brought you on Talksport as Manchester City beat Arsenal. Tomori played forward through the midfield. Foden acknowledging an error as it looked as though Valverde was going to be able to seize upon a loose ball and actually hit the Real Madrid man and went to safety for England in the form of Jordan Henderson. Maguire now plays it for Tomori. Madueke coming in off the right-hand side, one of the players in this starting lineup who you would be very surprised if he wasn't on the play. Probably 5 in that category, I think, in the 11 that are featuring this evening. Still plenty of opportunity for everybody that's involved in this long list of 37 to stake a claim. Marcus Rashford, another who will be very disappointed not to be there. You would imagine that it's pretty much nailed on. Lays it back for Harry Maguire here. Maguire to Tomori. Out of the right-hand side for Tino Livramento. Played forward by the Newcastle fullback into the feet of Noni Madueke. He's got Piquerez, the left-back, watching him every step of the way. He'll just drop back into position as Madueke lays it through the midfield for Jordan Henderson. Now down for Livramento again, who's just caught from behind there by Maxi Araujo to give England a free kick on halfway. 0-0 with 6 gone. Yeah,
I thought Livramento a little bit fortunate there. Delayed on the ball a little bit on the half turn. Just got caught. Deemed a free kick though, fortunately for England. And it'll be interesting to see the dynamic between the wide players. On the left-hand side, Spence is pushing right on, and Rashford tucking in one a little bit. And on the right-hand side here, Livramento and Madueke. What's the implications of those two? Do they work well together?
I certainly think that Livramento and Madueke will both be in line potentially to start together at some stage during the tournament out in the States, although we would have Saka ahead of Madueke, I think, down the right in the attacking position. That right back berth is wide open at the moment. Here is Madueke, able to travel in possession. Valverde came across and stopped him well. It's a very well-timed challenge. Madueke stayed down for a moment, holding his ankle, but he's getting back to his feet now. Valverde, who scored 6 in his last 5 games for Real Madrid, has the ball on halfway. Lays it back for Araujo. The centre-half has played more than 200 games for Barcelona. Forward from Valverde again, out of the right-hand side for Canobio, who's got more than an air of Diego Forlan about him from this distance. Ball played forward over halfway. Maxi Araujo's got that again. He's lost possession. Here's Solanke. Round 1 challenged beautifully in the midfield. He's got Foden to his right. Might go alone here, Solanke. He did. Araujo blocked it. Varela chased after it, couldn't stop it going out of play for a corner, which will be taken on the England left.
Yeah, Garner just getting a low 5 there from Jordan Henderson. Brilliant press by Garner, turned the ball over, and from that moment on, Solanke was looking to maybe get a shot away, but once again another opportunity to put a corner in. Last time out, Maguire in and around the goalkeeper. I'd prefer him to start probably around the penalty spot to get a momentum up to head the ball. He got first contact last time, Jim, but he was coming off the goalie, so he couldn't power it back towards the goal.
So Ghana's going to take it from that left-hand side. Maguire peeling away. Solanke going round the back across the edge of the 6-yard box with a header that is volleyed away by Varela. And Spence mops up on halfway and turns it back for James Trafford. A couple of early corners won by England. And you wonder with the success and prevalence of set pieces within the Premier League over the course of this season, bearing in mind that a lot of the games at the World Cup could be played at a relatively slow tempo because of the weather conditions, that set pieces might be really, really important.
I think you could be absolutely spot on. You'd be missing a trick if you don't look at long throws and set plays. It was a feature of Russia, wasn't it? Our corners and set plays.
And here's Noni Madueke coming in off the right-hand side, and very hot out in Russia, and humid as well, and will be in the United States. Don't forget, Talksport, the station that will bring you every kick of every game, all 104 matches on the Talksport network, be them here on Talksport, on Talksport 2, or on the app. And we've also got our podcast that's going on at the moment. It's a fascinating listen with a comedian, Matt Ford, at the helm of how to win the World Cup. If you haven't heard that, thoroughly recommend it. England on the front foot again, as they've been for most of the game here, with Madueke twisting, turning, getting it onto his left foot, then dragging it back onto his right. Just denied the opportunity to get across him by some good defending. The Uruguayan defender has gone down injured. It's Piquerez, who's just been caught by Madueke, but it will be an England corner that they'll take on the right-hand side this time. They won 3 in the opening 10 minutes. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's that understanding between full-back and wide player. The ball was played into Madueke. He's one-on-one. If I was the full-back on that occasion, Livramento, just stay where you are. Support from behind. Livramento set sail and almost took some of the ground and a defender into the zone where a winger doesn't want to be.
Piquerez is still down, but you might have heard some boos. That was because he rolled back onto the field so that the corner couldn't be taken.
Sorry, Jim, you just can't believe that referees, in fact, they're signalling over to the bench that he's coming off now. So, but players that are injured off the pitch rolling back onto the pitch, it should be a law in the game where the game doesn't get stopped on that occasion.
Just like rugby league, just play over them. The signal has been given. They're also asking for a stretcher. The 4 stretcher bearers are making their way slowly, deliberately down the touchline so that he can receive further treatment and be helped away. We can catch up with how England's next generation are getting on. The 21s in action against Andorra and struggling the last time we heard from Ian Abrahams.
Still struggling. 17 minutes left. Andorra 1, England 0. First goal England have conceded in this campaign. It was scored by Soler just before 7 minutes of the second half been played. England haven't really threatened much on goal in this second half since going behind. Andorra 1, England 0.
The first goal that England had conceded at under 21 level. The last goal they conceded at full international level against Senegal in Nottingham last June. They've gone 552 minutes since then, 9 hours and 12 minutes. They're aiming for a 7th consecutive clean sheet tonight, which would equal the England record set under Gareth Southgate back in 2021. The longest run without conceding goes back to 1966, 708 minutes. They can break that record on Tuesday night here against Japan if they keep a clean sheet this evening, and for most of that game that'll be a new national record which has stood for 60 years. You're not missing anything here at Wembley because Piquerez is still down receiving treatment. The left back who plays his club football in Brazil for Palmeiras. Let me remind you, Shabana Hearn and Tony Cascarino return tomorrow morning with a weekend sports breakfast here on Talksport from 6 a.m. You can watch the show on your smart TV or the Talksport YouTube channel. No excuse to miss breakfast tomorrow morning from 6. And also available for you will be the Talksport daily podcast with Adrian Durham and Stuart and myself, just chewing over the fat from what we've seen this evening. who has perhaps rubber-stamped their place on the plane and who might just have played their way out of a little bit of contention. And that podcast will be available tomorrow morning on the Talksport app. Also, the unmissable marks out of 10 from the award-winning Adrian Durham for England's starting 11 tonight. Well, Piquerez still being assisted. He's going to be replaced very shortly by the vastly experienced Jose Maria Jimenez, the Atletico Madrid centre-half, who's played nearly 400 games for Atletico, nearly 100 for his country. Of his 98th cap, one of his first came against England back in the 2014 World Cup, which was an inauspicious day. England knocked out of the tournament in Sao Paulo by 2 Luis Suarez goals. One in the end of the first half, one near the end of the second, sandwiched around a Wayne Rooney strike. It was not a vintage England team back in 2014. The hopes are much higher 12 years on. Piquerez is still just being helped onto the stretcher away to our right. Jimenez, who will be his replacement, and they'll bring him on immediately because don't forget they've got a corner to defend. And he's continuing just to jog up and down this touchline to warm up ahead of his forthcoming introduction. Piquerez about to come off. It's been a decent start from England though through the opening 14 minutes, Stuart. They've played at a decent tempo. They've certainly dominated possession. Yeah, they certainly have. They've sort of pinned Uruguay in. Uruguay defending fairly deep. Uruguay have shown that they look as though they can break quickly if they turn the ball over, but England certainly have been in the ascendancy. So Piquerez being stretched away. Jimenez comes on to replace him, who's the centre-half, which may well see Oliveira move to left-back to replace the stricken Piquerez. So England with another corner to attack. And they've got 4 inside the 6-yard box. They've got 2 more making runs from near the penalty spot here, all in towards the near post. Ball delivered much deeper than everybody from Foden. It's just swept straight over the lot and out of play for a goal kick. 15 gone, but already there's going to be 4 or 5 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. It's 0-0.
Yeah, just far too deep on that ball. It needs to be left. Sort of the idea is probably crossbar height, if you like, somewhere around the 6-yard box.
Goal kick taken. Muslera clipping it out of the right-hand side for Varela for Uruguay. Good press again from England. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Garner involved in that. Rashford tried to work the angle. Couldn't get himself into a shooting position. But Foden can flick it to his right for Madueke. Back from him to Tino Livramento. Jordan Henderson plays it forward. 3 converging on Tino Livramento. A Bielsa style. Very familiar tactics to anybody that saw Leeds United play under Bielsa. Pressing from the front immediately. Try to win the ball back as soon as they've lost it. And they have won a throw which will be taken on the left by Oliveira, who has now dropped in at left back since the change was made.
Yeah, I've got to say, top quality press by England there as well. You know, playing out from the back, Uruguay, and England were all over them.
Garner picking it up. The referee has spotted a foul. It's Madueke on Oliveira. It's going to be a free kick that will be taken by the Uruguayans. So 11 players joining up. And tomorrow, officially, with England for the game against Japan on Tuesday, that will bring you on Talksport. They are here tonight, watching on, always assessing what is going on and seeing what they might be able to add to certain in-game scenarios, what's worked and what hasn't. Interesting to see who gets cut from this particular squad that are featuring tonight that won't be involved on Tuesday. Who gets sent home, because it's easy to read an awful lot into that. Muslera outside his penalty area, plays it to his left. Down it comes for Oliveira now in his blue boots, under pressure from Madueke. Again, the press is good. Ghana instrumental in it, flicked on by Solanke. Madueke back for Solanke, shot on the turn, but didn't get the power he wanted. And Muslera takes a step to his left and catches it, 0-0.
This is the side of England's game that I thought at one stage, a couple of years ago, we were really good at pressing from the front, and then we took our eye off the ball and we were really, really poor at it and let teams sort of play out and dictate pace. And it's good to see us getting on the front foot and pressing aggressively, collectively.
Spence to Rashford, to Ghana, back out of the left-hand side for Jed Spence again, taking on the former Man United defender Varela and winning another corner. There's been a flurry of them in the early stages, and Uruguay just can't get out of their own half at the moment.
No, as I say, they're trying to play out, and England are swamping them and smothering them and turning the ball over. And what we need to do is turn some of these set plays into efforts at goal, and potentially good build-up play into efforts at goal.
Still 0-0. Elsewhere, Germany trail in a friendly in Switzerland by a goal to nil. Spain also taking on Serbia tonight. Spain in Uruguay's group in the World Cup. That one's 0-0. They've played about 7 minutes there. In comes this latest England corner. The fourth heading towards goal by Maguire. He just didn't quite get enough on it. And it's bobbled away with a flick from Henderson and out for another corner, which will be taken on the England right. He's been England's leading scoring defender for a while now, Harry Maguire, but he's been stuck on 7 for a couple of seasons. Could have made it 8 there. Another corner to be taken, this one on the England right. It's going to be an in-swinger from Foden. Just waiting for everybody to get in position. Last one from him was overhit. This one again swept in really deep. Coming around the back, he's headed back by Maguire. Too much on his header, and as it comes back to Foden, he's offside. Down by that corner flag, and it's a free kick to Uruguay in their left back position. 20 minutes though, which have been very stop-start. They've been dominated by England. They've had 70% of the ball, but for that, just the one attempt on target so far.
Yeah, and I think we've had good opportunities. I think Uruguay are at 6s and 7s with their marking at these set plays, but the delivery hasn't been spot on at this moment in time for us to get a clear effort.
First paper aeroplanes, just 20 minutes in, made their way slowly towards the Wembley turf. Forward he goes from Varela, down to Maxi Araujo. Worked through the midfield, down to Scaeta, flicking it on. Jordan Henderson is back with the aid of Noni Madueke to win possession. Back there, Scaeta almost won the ball back on the edge of the D for Uruguay, but Jed Spence with an electrifying burst of pace can make good ground down the left. He was well stopped by a challenge from the retreating Manuel Ugarte. And Uruguay go back to Varela. Varela put under pressure. Can still find Valverde. And Uruguay have been able to play out. Now Jimenez down for Oliveira. On the Uruguayan left in their sky blue shirts and black shorts. They've got new Nike kit as well for the World Cup, as England have. Celeste on the front foot, and we haven't said that very often. Harry Maguire is just able to calmly bring things under control inside his own penalty area. Foden on the turn, scoops it to his right. And here comes Tino Livramento, who made his debut against Ireland in Lee Carsley's last game in charge. It's his 4th count for his country this evening. 3 coming under Thomas Tuchel. Back for Fikayo Tomori, whose last appearance for England was back in November 2023 against Malta, when he was taken off at half-time and didn't see the light of game after that. He's winning his 6th cap tonight, and he's played in 5 different years for his country, which showed just how far away he's been from being a regular starter. England will bring it forward here with Maguire. Decided not to take it too far under pressure. Just played the way that he was facing back for Jordan Henderson. Henderson goes out to the left for Spence. Spence clipping it down to the right-hand side now for Livramento. Noni Madueke's had quite a free role in this game at times, and England have just shuffled things around now with Rashford playing through the middle. Solanke's gone out to the right, and Madueke almost playing an inside left for a moment. Now Solanke drops deep and Madueke makes his way in the central striker's role. So plenty of rotation in what's been a fluid front three from England. Spencer's got it. Now plays it back for Maguire. He's 10 yards inside his own half as he finds Jordan Henderson. Henderson, who's winning his 89th cap tonight. High ball played for by him down the England left-hand side. Rashford chasing after it, beaten by his former Man United teammate Varela in an aerial challenge, but England have a throw and they've taken it quickly. It's still 0-0 just past the midway stage of the first half here on Talksport.
Yeah, Henderson just identifying them when the game needed breaking up a little bit. We'd had maybe 30 passes in the mid-band of the pitch. He just popped one in behind their back line and all of a sudden we squeezed up a little bit, and that's what you've got to do on occasion. If you can't play through them, sometimes mix it up a touch. I like the cohesion between the team though. It's when you pick sort of new faces, Jim, all together with England, I think the movement and the patterns between the team look pretty good.
This is the oldest England starting 11 that's been fielded since the game against Denmark back in the last Euros. But it is a real mix and match side. Livramento surely was pulled back there by Ugarte, and the German referee said no, play on. Ball works forward towards Aguirre, and then when England win it back, Jordan Henderson then turns and gives some real weird side invective to the German referee. He's not happy at all about that decision, which looked at an obvious foul on Tino Livramento, but nothing was given, no harm done from an England perspective. They've got possession inside their own half with Ghana, and he's played it down towards Tomori. So it's only a first cap for Ghana tonight, but he's got a chance, hasn't he, of making the 26-man squad?
Well, I think he's formed for Everton this year, and the fact that he's played all the games for Everton this year as well and has caught the eye of the international manager certainly would suggest that. And even these early stages in the game, he looks very comfortable in the game, like Anderson really, when he's first made his debut for England, looked very comfortable out there.
Yeah, such an assured opening 4 or 5 games of Elliot Anderson's England international career, and Ghana has fitted in a similar mold. He's that little bit older than Anderson, just recently turned 25. Plenty of Premier League experience behind him these days. Muslera now with plenty of experience behind him, more than 500 games for Galatasaray for a start, and more than 130 for his country. He's played the ball forward out of the Uruguayan right. It's been headed back and straight out of play for another goal kick. Got to be taken by Muslera away to the right-hand side. With 25 minutes in, everything changes in football. So fashionable in terms of systems and everything. Everything changes bar one thing. Salo Bielsa always sitting on a bucket. He's got an orange water container to perch on here. Here's his side, bringing it forward. 3 against 2 for a moment towards the edge of the D, but Canobio getting himself into a shooting position, fired one high over Trafford's goal from the edge of the penalty area, when perhaps a slip ball to his right-hand side would have been a better option. Also had Aguirre to his left, but he went for glory, and he found the supporters.
Yeah, I think England were very pleased that he's taken the shot on as early as he actually did. Tomori just got underneath the ball slightly, I think looking for a potential foul maybe. I'm not so sure on that, but
pressure on Trafford applied by Aguirre, who's still able to chip it down towards Livramento. England bring it forward with Phil Foden, who's immediately fouled by Jimenez, who then did everything he could to stop Foden getting to his feet quickly, just to negate any thought of an instant restart when Uruguay hadn't got their defensive shape. England work it from that free kick back towards Tomori. His left-hand side for Harry Maguire, and it'll be brought forward. This being an England game, we've got England trivia for you. I'll give you the question in 5-6 minutes or so, something like that. We're talking about strikers tonight, something for you to think about. There's Phil Foden, that plays it to his left. Jordan Henderson down towards the right-hand side, an opportunity for Noni Madueke, twisting Oliveira one way and then the other, and he's done well to retain possession under pressure from Ugarte. Laid back for Jordan Henderson again. Henderson to Tomori inside his own half. Just drops it down for Henderson. Yellow captain's armband around his left arm. He's knocked the ball back behind square for Harry Maguire. And then Trafford in all yellow. Just plays it out again to the halfway line, where it'll be brought down by Fikayo Tomori. Maguire inside the centre circle. Another opportunity for him to bring it forward. Can find Foden. Foden coming over the halfway line. Just a little buzz of crowd noise, really. Not too much more than that. It's almost as if the supporters just waiting for something to happen here. It has been a patient build-up from England. Just the one shot on target for them so far. They'll bring it forward to Jed Spence. Spence running towards the edge of the penalty area. Slipped off to the left-hand side. An opportunity for Ghana to deliver. Madueke climbing high, heading towards goal. Muslera makes the catch. A very late goal in that under-21 international. Andorra, England. Ian Abrahams.
In the 90th minute, Andorra 1, England 1. Rico Lewis from the penalty spot. England have got out of jail here. Andorra 1, England 1.
And so is Néstor Muslera inside his 6-yard box as the ball was played back to him. And the press came, and his heart was really in his mouth. He was just able to work it away and get it out of Solanke's path and Madueke's and chip it out of play for a throw.
Yeah, England's press has been very good. I've been pleased with that, and I'm not sure I've seen Uruguay actually play out from the goalkeeper or through the goalkeeper and get beyond maybe 30-40 metres without England turning it over.
Have been poor travellers in the recent past. I think that this, more than the vast majority of England games, is one where it's going to be difficult to read anything into the result, because it's such a hybrid England team. Playing against the Uruguayan side that are without 2 or 3 as well. Haven't won an away game in 8, even though they are ranked 14th in the world. England with Madueke waiting at the far post. Jed Spence tried to trick his way through the penalty area. Uruguay repel that, but England's next line of attack will see them come forward here with Livramento, who's just been caught there on the knee by Maxi Araujo. And it's a free kick to England, 25 yards outside the penalty area. 0-0, we played half an hour on Talksport.
Yeah, England are just waiting for that breakthrough. For all the ascendancy we've had with possession, we've not really created a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
Right now, as the ball is chipped inside the penalty area, and Solanke, a tight angle on the edge of the 6-yard box, just waiting to try and swivel and hit the ball in. And one of the covering defenders came across and nicked it away from him. Solanke then, as he tried to volley the ball towards goal, ended up making contact with the defender. Varela wins a free kick inside his penalty area.
Yeah, good play there by Henderson. As I say, got on the ball, played it nice and quickly, and well received by Solanke.
Solanke, who has never previously played under Thomas Tuchel. A couple of substitute appearances for him under Lee Carsley against Greece and Ireland, nearly 7 years after he made his debut against Brazil. Looking back through the records, trying to find somebody who had a longer wait from international debut to first international start for England, and couldn't find anybody. I'm not saying that it has been longer for Dom Solanke than anyone else at 8+ years, but he's right up there. But hasn't had too many opportunities to shine so far. The press has been good, but the chances in front of goal have been very isolated. But talking of Dom Solanke, let me give you tonight's England trivia question. This is the 84th successive England international over the last 7 years, where they played with only one up front. Back to it in a moment. Madueke brings it forward. Big booming challenge comes in on him inside the penalty area, and the German referee said it was fair. He stayed down injured, Noni Madueke. Then it's given away by Fikayo Tomori. An opportunity for Araujo. Just played down to his left-hand side, and Madueke still down hurt, so play will stop. Now the ball's going to be side-footed out of play so that he can receive any treatment, and he's been motionless since that challenge came in on him. Hasn't moved a muscle, which is often not a good sign.
Yeah, I don't like the look of this one, actually. He's gone to have a swing at the ball, and I don't think the shot was actually on. I think the door got shut on him defensively, and I don't know actually where he's took a clump. I'm going to look at a replay on that. I think he's took a bang to the sort of, probably the head, if anything, from the defender coming across, almost a clash of heads, or faces almost.
It was Gira that came in the striker tracking back. And he made a very agricultural attempt to try and win the ball, and he caught him high, maybe around the head, but around the rib cage as well. So he's down receiving treatment. Let me give you this trivia question then. As I say, the 84th successive England international over the last 7 years, where they've only played with one up front. Now, Dom Solanke is in that role tonight. He's the 8th player in that 84-game run to fulfill the role. But who are the other 7? So who are the last 7 before tonight to start in a central striker's role for England? So go back through that in 5-6 minutes time or so. We'll talk about it at the back end of half time. We'll give you the answer about 20 minutes from time. One or two of them pretty simple, but a couple of them might take a bit of thinking about. 33 minutes gone, 0-0. Noni Madueke still down receiving treatment, but as I speak, just getting back up now, is being helped away. No need for the stretcher, which is ready for him, I'm delighted to say. It looks as though he's going to be able to continue. Let's get full-time details on that under-21 international. Moose?
Andorra 1, England 1. Andorra had 7 minutes into the second half. Soler tapping in from close range. England were pitiful tonight, absolutely pitiful. Showed nothing going forward, and a minute from time, Bellingham was tripped in the box, and Rico Lewis for the spot got them out of jail. Not a good display from Lee Carsley's side. Andorra 1, England 1.
So it finishes 1-1. I'm going with the fact that Moose thought they were pitiful. The ball will be played back inside the centre circle and worked on by Jimenez out to the right for Varela, and played back by him for Araujo inside the centre circle. Uruguay getting it forward again with Ugarte. Madueke back on the field now. Nobody had been sent out to warm up to replace him, which was also a good sign. He's all right. Noni Madueke, having been checked over, he's going to be fine and is able to continue. Ball's out for a throw, which will be taken on the England left. About 10 yards from the corner flag, 10 minutes to go to half time. Give us your overall assessment then. How's Thomas Tuchel appraising what we've seen so far?
I think you'll be quite pleased with the sort of how the 11 have knitted together. You know, they don't look like a team that have been sort of picked and all of a sudden playing off tilt. The lack of clear-cut opportunities being created with the amount of ball we had might be a slight concern, and maybe from set plays as well, which we've forced quite a few corners at this moment in time, but we've not looked, and I'll make that statement looking at Uruguay, and don't think they're particularly good at staying with their players and defending set plays. We haven't really threatened the goalkeeper.
They've not got a bad defensive record, actually. 5 clean sheets in the last 7 games, but then remember they got hit for 5 by the United States when they last played back in November, which saw a whole heap of pressure applied on Marcelo Bielsa. They're on the front foot here with Maxi Araujo coming towards the edge of the England penalty area. Livramento staying with his man, did well, denied him the opportunity to get a cross in, and putting it out of play for a throw on the Uruguayan left.
Yeah, and Madueke's gone down again, which is a real concern. On the grounds, he was just down a fraction earlier.
Yeah, there is some activity on the England bench this time. And that is a potential problem. And he's just back on his feet. He's being led away off the field without having received any treatment. And so England are going to have to make a change. He's walking comfortably, you'd have to say. Hopefully it is just an impact problem, nothing more than that, and he's leaving the field as a precaution, but he's going to play no further part tonight. And Jared Bowen is just putting the number 20 shirt on, and he'll be on to replace him in a moment. I think England have just indicated that they will make the change in the next break in play, and they're happy to defend this set piece with 10, are they? Oh, he's going to come on now. They're going to rush him on. So Madueke off and Jared Bowen on for his 21st England cap. He's come off the bench to score in the past. Did so against Ireland. It remains his only international goal so far.
Yeah, I would have said with Madueke potentially talking to his manager as he come off, pointing down potentially a knee problem or ankle in that jarring collision earlier.
Yeah, and he's made his way straight down the tunnel. which is also not a good sign. Varela plays the ball back for Ronald Araujo. Barcelona man brings it into England territory. We've got 7 minutes to go to half-time. It's 0-0. Could easily be another 7 added on. I think if there was a competitive international, there would be. Solanke chases after this. Bowen too, but Jimenez scrambles it away and out for a throw to be taken on the England right. Uruguay has beaten in that game by the United States, but they haven't lost consecutive games since Bielsa took charge back in 2023. They've won more than twice as many as they've lost since he came to the helm. England, remember, 9 wins from Thomas Tuchel's 10 games in charge so far, including every competitive international. They've not got a great record in friendlies, but have been ripping it up in competitive games over the last year, 18 months or so. Now Spence coming forward has lost it. Varela did well, just nipped in front of his man. Right-footed ball towards the edge of the England penalty area, sails over the head of Maxi Araujo, and straight out for a throw that will be taken on the England right. When they've worked possession towards the edge of the England box, they've looked rudderless and very bereft of ideas.
Yeah, they certainly have. Probably, they've had a couple of good opportunities.
It might be another Arrascaeta trying to find his way through. Ball slipped to the right-hand side, and Trafford, just as he was waiting to have to make a save, saw Maguire block the shot that came in from Valverde. It was good defending. And now England can bring it forward on the counter-attack. And Rashford's past Valverde, and he's running towards the edge of the penalty area. He's taking on Varela, but his ball inside the penalty area is behind the 2 on-rushing England players. They recycle it. Foden near the edge of the penalty area. He's urged to shoot because Muslera looked a long way off his line then. Jordan Henderson worked out to the right-hand side for Livramento. Livramento back for Tomori, and all of a sudden England back in a position where every Uruguayan player is goal side.
Yeah, you asked me before the game, did I think Rashford will be a cert to go on the aeroplane, and you've just seen exactly why the answer was a definite yes, because he went past 3 players then like they weren't there, to be honest with you, and he has the ability to do that and score. Just need to see a little bit of that on a consistent level.
He's got 18 goals for his country, which is much the highest tally of anybody involved tonight. Harry Maguire lays the ball back. Livramento to Tomori inside the centre circle. Tomori in his white boots, the Canadian-born centre-half. More than 200 Milan games behind him now. It's played forward in towards Foden, and he's been fouled. And this is a free kick in a half-decent position. It's probably right at the limit of range for anybody, but it's very central. And it's maybe 15, 16 yards outside the penalty area after Ugarte's foul.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of niggly little fouls on England players, I've got to say. I'm just having a look at a rerun of that run from Rashford again, and that's exactly what you want. You want players in this wide area that we've spoke about many times to do exactly that and deliver balls across the face of goal, and you hope on another day Harry Kane's head's on the end of that.
So England setting up with nearly everybody ahead of Ghana as he drives this in. Uruguay clear. England almost won the seconds, but don't quite. And Canobio, the right winger, will take on Foden, who taps it out of play for a throw. That alleviates all the danger for Bielsa's man. Another disappointing set piece. That one from Ghana, who's hardly put a foot wrong so far, but it was just a bit of painting by numbers, teasing one high towards the edge of the box and very easily dealt with.
Yeah, he was just trying to loft one up there to Maguire, who peeled off the back, but there was just too many numbers around basically for him to get a decent run at.
Ball out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Uruguayan right over the halfway line, and England immediately win it back with a substitute Bowen knocking it on towards Dom Solanke. Good running off the ball from Phil Foden, who's the most advanced of the men in red at the moment. Sticks his head in where it might have hurt. He's got it out towards the left-hand side. Spence taking it on, wins a throw in front of those 2,000 travelling Uruguayan supporters over on the far side. Got a difficult group at the World Cup, Uruguay, in so much as they're in with Spain, but they will expect to finish second. They've got Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde as the other teams in their group. And if they finish second in the group, they're probably going to get Argentina in the round of 32, which will be some game, that local derby in the round of 32 in the World Cup. Don't forget, all 104 games from the tournament will be coming your way on the Talksport network. We've got 2 minutes to go to half time, and a stack of stoppage time to be added on as well, to the injury to the Uruguayan left back Piqueres, who was stretchered off. Livramento in possession here on Talksport. Foden back for Livramento again, and he feigned to go inside and then makes his way forward. Looked as though he could have slipped the ball down the inside right channel for Solanke, but he played a slightly more conservative pass back through the central area of midfield. England working on towards Rashford. He's then fouled, and the free kick goes England's way, 10 yards outside the box, left to centre. Yeah,
Tuchel was just on that last run by Livramento. He was just gesturing that maybe he's looking to play a little 1-2 off Solanke, or slide a running of Solanke's, and I think that might have been the ball or the run that threatened Uruguay a touch more.
Those are the thoughts of the former England captain Stuart Pearce, talking you through every one of England's games at the World Cup and more besides. Jordan Henderson going across to just have a word with Phil Foden ahead of the delivery of this free kick, and it was probably literally only a word or two, because he said his piece and immediately sprints back towards the far post area for Foden to try and swing this in. Left-footed, he raises his right arm above his head. In comes the delivery towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Jimenez got enough on it, not much, but could divert it out of play. It's an England throw down towards the corner flag. 30 seconds to go to half-time. And still, the score is 0-0. And largely chanceless so far. It's been a little bit of a tepid performance in some areas from England, understandably so, because of the lack of cohesion between this set of players that have just been thrown together, really. But there have been elements to recommend it as well. Not really created an awful lot. Ghana, sliding challenge comes in on him as we go into 7 added minutes at the end of the first half, which has been very stop-start. Lagarde down for Valverde. Here's the left-back Oliveira coming forward. And we're back by Valverde again to the blonde-haired centre-half Araujo. Scored in the win away to Argentina in qualifying. First half of their qualification campaign much better than the second half, and they have fallen away despite the fact that they've only lost one of the last 7 games. There's been plenty of disquiet, and some Uruguayan legends have been quick to criticise, including Luis Suarez. Ball played back to the left for Oliveira. Headed away by Livramento. Brought down again by Oliveira. Back inside his own half for the experienced Jimenez. He finds his goalkeeper, Muslera, just side-footing it out away from the on-rushing Solanke. Ugarte can turn. Play forward now to Varela. His bleached blonde hair. Plays it out to the right for Canobio. Valverde will take over. Arrascaeta wants the ball in defeat. Valverde works it out towards the touchline instead, and then pokes it back under pressure. Straight out of play for an England throw. It's 0-0 in first half stoppage time. Yeah,
I've been a little bit disappointed with the levels that Uruguay have hit tonight. You know, they haven't offered a great deal to the game. They've had the odd opportunity to break on England and sort of fizzled out, as you pointed out earlier. From England's point of view, we've probably, for all the pressure we've had, not created enough as yet.
Might be able to here though. Rashford, left-hand side of the penalty area, and it was ducked clear away from him and out of play for another throw. But he has been a constant threat down that left-hand side. Even at the moments where he hasn't had the ball at his feet, it's the omnipresent threat of his pace.
Without a doubt, Jim. As I say, he's been the most effective. I think Spencer's been a good foil to him over that side. And I saw Tuchel's body language earlier. There's been a couple of times where Spencer's got in the advanced areas but not trusted his left foot to cross it with, and I think he has to do that.
Jed Spence also, like Livramento, winning his 4th cap tonight. He's had 2 games at right back, 2 at left back in an England shirt so far. Ball out of play for another throw, and this one's been given Uruguay's way. It's 0-0 here on Talksport. Let me just point you in the direction of Chris Evans on Virgin Radio. I don't know, you will remember, if you're our age, TFI Friday with real delight. And TFI Unplugged has all the best bits of Chris's breakfast show. He's had some great guests this week, including comedian Jimmy Carr, actor Phil Dunster, live music as well from Scouting for Girls. And you can watch TFI Unplugged on the Virgin Radio YouTube channel. Essentially, it's a rehash of those great Friday night television programmes from yesteryear.
I was actually on that a couple of times, actually, going back to about 99.
Oh, back in the black and white days. I remember those, yeah.
That was 1999, not the 18.
Oliveira. Back for Jimenez. Comes forward. Araujo. Right-footed ball through the middle, but Tomori came across and covered. Hits it left-footed. High up in the air. Spence can get there, and Garland will knock it away. Goes out of the far touchline and is played for by Varela. They can bring it down again. The game sort of meandering its way through this 7 minutes of first half stoppage time until Rashford has it, and again he brings it forward, but the ball to his right hand side wasn't quite delivered with the care that was necessary. And now Uruguay will be able to bring it forward on the counter attack. They're running at Harry Maguire, and his shot takes a Nick. Did it off Henderson? No, it did fly out straight over the bar, and the referee thought, as he put his hand to his ear, just getting clarification from the VAR there that should have been a corner, but it's a goal kick that has been given. Trafford hoping to have a busy-ish night as a goalkeeper on his debut, just to show his class and ability, and he's had absolutely no opportunity to do that at all.
No, he certainly hasn't, but what he has done, he's been very composed with the ball at his feet. Even when he's been pressed on the odd occasion, he's looked more than comfortable and started off one or two attacks, and to be honest with you, I'd rather my goalkeeper be unworked.
Yep, absolutely. You can see how good he is in training. Livramento back for Tomori. Don't forget, he kept 6 clean sheets in the under-21 Euros back in 2023 as England were victorious. Here's Livramento. Forward towards Foden, who's another age group winner in an England shirt, and he's just been caught there by Ugarte. He came across and had a couple of little nibbles at him. The Manchester United man on the Manchester City player. The free kick goes England's way near halfway. 90 seconds to go. So England can make 8 changes tonight. They can do so at half-time, and then 3 other separate junctures throughout the course of the game. They've used one of those because of the injury to Noni Madueke. Be interesting to see how many changes are made at half-time. Trafford scooping the ball forward. It was a poor clearance. He was under pressure, but he's just passed it to Valverde, 20 yards outside the penalty area. Varela on the overlap, ball in. Trafford has done well to punch that clear. I think that's just about the first cross that has come in from a wide position for Uruguay that has caused any problems at all, and Trafford was there just to be able to beat it away. Uruguay's still got it, but they're back inside their own half for a moment. Varela, 4 for Canobio, with 45 seconds of first half stoppage time to go here on Talksport, where it is still goalless and largely chanceless. And with just a couple of efforts on target so far, and Musleron is come back to the international setup, having retired from football in 2024, or from international football in 2024. Not had a difficult save to make at all, like his opposite number, James Trafford. England with possession, getting it forward. Rashford inside the centre circle for Livramento. Still time for one last attack before half-time. Marcus Rashford finds himself in a central area here. Solanke made the run. Rashford's ball was too low to be able to find him, and Ugarte got in the way. England recycle it and get it out to the left, and now Harry Maguire comes forward, and the half-time whistle goes. So 0-0 at half-time here at Wembley. This mix and match team that has been fielded by Thomas Tuchel have had some nice moments. Marcus Rashford's really caught the eye. I don't think anybody has done too much wrong so far, but have too many done an awful lot right to be able to cement their place on the plane. Half-time, 0-0.
Bielsa off his bucket and down the tunnel, and the England players down the tunnel as well. Fascinated by what changes are going to be made at half-time by Thomas Tuchel, but I'm a bit underwhelmed, I have to say. The 11 who are here watching and will join up for Tuesday's friendly against Japan, I'd love to see them kitted up and ready for the second half. It's not going to happen, but I think this feels like a bit of a waste of a friendly game. And after Tuesday's game with Japan, England are going to be picking a World Cup squad. They're going to be heading off in a couple of months to America, and the World Cup will get underway after a couple of friendlies in Florida. So time's running out. Thomas Tuchel was late coming into the job, and now he's late getting his squad together, because I'm looking at that 11 out there, Stuart Pearce, and I don't think we've learned anything really. Marcus Rashford had a brilliant run down the left-hand side. You said the pressing was decent, but I don't think there's anybody who's a possible maybe for the World Cup who's stuck their hand in the air and said, yep, get me on the plane. We haven't really learned much, have we, from that first half?
It's probably fell in a little bit of a grey area. You can't look at anybody and say that they've had a really bad game, you know what I mean? But you can't look at anyone on the other side of it, as you've outlined there, that's really grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. I think everyone's had a steadier way. Rashford has caught the eye on a couple of occasions with a good couple of runs. Spencer's got up behind him but failed to put the ball in with his left foot on a couple of occasions where I thought he could have done. Madueke's got injured now and not really, you know, he'd probably be one of those ones sent back to his club, you know. You won't take a chance with him, I'm sure. So yeah, it's interesting to see where the game goes the second half.
Yeah, there was a caller on Drive earlier this week. They were talking about England's best midfielders. Decided Declan Rice was the best of not in terms of the 10, but the other two, the 8 and the 6. Who was the second best midfielder England have got? And an Everton fan called up and said Jimmy Garner. And I've really enjoyed watching him for Everton in the Premier League this season. Thomas Tuchel got annoyed with him just before half-time there because he was sloppy, lost the ball, and the England manager was openly, clearly annoyed with his man making his debut. So he's not made a good impression either. It's a shame, but it feels like there's so much pressure on this game for some of these players that they can't really do what they want to do.
Yeah, I see it slightly different with Garner. I think for his first cap at this level, I think he's been pretty good and settled into the game rather nicely. But listen, we all see slightly different things on occasion, and certain things stick in our mind, you know. So, but listen, it will be interesting that what we need to do, and the bottom line is, we've not worked their goalkeeper enough. When it all boils down to all the possession we've had, we've pinned them in, we've not let them play through us for the vast majority of the time. They've probably had 3 efforts from the edge of our box where if they'd have done a little bit better, we might have been in a bit of problems, but their shooting's been all right.
Yeah, they need shooting practice. We talked a lot about Phil Foden before the game. His first corner sailed over everyone's head, went straight out of play, which normally we might say, well, that can happen, but set pieces are going to be so important. They've become so important. You can't waste an opportunity like that. I mean, nobody had the chance to get their head on the ball. Phil Foden, for me, hasn't really shown up. I'm gutted. I love him, but I don't think he's really shown up in that first half.
Yeah, I think he's been an integral player in knitting things together. But what you want to see from him probably is in the advanced areas, supplying passes to people and maybe even getting efforts himself. So, and I think set plays, we've had enough corners to really trouble them. I'm not sure their marking's great or they're staying with runners, and we've probably, the delivery, maybe Declan Rice not being involved tonight has played a part in that.
You know what, Stuart, and that's one thing I'm going to ask you after the game, so maybe think about it during the second half. Would we have been better served here for this friendly and the one on Tuesday by just saying, listen, clubs, I understand you're going for titles, you're going for European places, cups, etc., whatever it might be, but we need to get ready for a World Cup, so we need these players. They may have played 3,500, 4,000 minutes, but we need these players. We need our best players. We need England's best team to get ready for a World Cup. So I think I might be coming to you with that. Unless they score 6 goals without replying in the second half, I may be asking you that after the second half. Is that fair?
That's more than fair.
Thank you very much.
And I'll have an answer ready for you.
Can I prejudge what that answer will be?
Go on.
Fundamentally disagree, Hate.
Well, but why would it? It's a World Cup. Should our best 11 not be getting prepared for a World Cup?
I think that what he knows what his best 11 is, and I totally agree that you need to get that 11 in a position where they're playing together cohesively. But I think that's what the 2 games in Florida will be for. Certainly 3 halves of those 2 games, I would imagine we will see something like England's strongest 11, and I think we'll see something that is much closer to England's strongest 11 against Japan here on Talksport on Tuesday night. But I think that there are still questions to be answered, like what happens if Harry Kane's not fit? Who plays through the middle? So he's getting an answer to that. It might well be that the answer isn't Dom Solanke. So that is something that he's getting. That's another piece in the jigsaw of intelligence that he is getting tonight. So I think that if you sort of extrapolate that out throughout the team, I think that this is the right tactic. And I know that a lot of England fans don't agree and will be saying, no, rubbish, you need to get your first 11 playing together. But I completely understand the logic behind what he's doing tonight. Now, it doesn't make for a fascinating spectacle. And I think it is very difficult for all the reasons you brilliantly outlined why it is difficult for these players that are featuring tonight. But I think it's the right tactic. I think that it is learning about players. He needs to know that he is making the right decisions of the players' numbers 21 to 26 in his squad. Because the top 20, we all know who 20 of the 26 are going to be, but we're not sure who the other 6 are going to be, and this is helping us find out.
Maybe. Or maybe it's the height of arrogance to chuck away a friendly and not have your best 11 out there, getting better in time for a World Cup. Let's see what the second half brings live on Talksport. Now, whilst the England game has been going on this evening, there has been some news out of Florida tonight involving Tiger Woods. With the latest, here's our newsreader, Hugo Chambray.
Yes, evening, Adrian. Some shocking news this evening, which is that Tiger Woods has been involved in what police described as a rollover crash in Florida where he lives. Now, we don't have much information about the cause of the incident, but we do have some pictures of a black car rolled over onto its side, and CBS 12 local news have reported that a source at Martin County Fire Rescue has given them more details, saying the crash involved 2 vehicles, one of which rolled over. One person is reported to be in a stable condition, while another declined to be taken to hospital. So it sounds like there are not any serious issues, but just over 5 years since that horrific car crash where Woods nearly lost his right leg. He had multiple open fractures to that right leg, and it's derailed his regular participation in competitive golf after his 2019 Masters win. We will have to see what this means for the Tiger Woods story, both in terms of his health and in terms of his golfing career.
Hugo, thank you very much. More on that later on this evening, I'm sure, as the story may develop through the night here on Talksport. Tomorrow from 11 a.m. you can listen to a special show on Talksport. Johnny Owen is joined in the studio by the former Forest, Everton and Burnley manager Sean Dyche. Is going to be on Talksport again. It's a must listen. There's been reports that Spurs will consider turning to Dyche to rescue the club from relegation. If their first choice, Roberto De Zerbi, continues to insist he will only take the job at the end of the season. I think Stuart Pearce is going to be on that show as well. That's from 11 tomorrow morning. Johnny Owen with Sean Dyche. And as if that's not all, live boxing returns to Talksport tomorrow night. Heavyweight sensation Moses Itama faces the never-before knocked-out Jermaine Franklin at Manchester's Co-op Live Arena. Current heavyweight Dave Allen will offer his expert analysis as part of our commentary team. Don't forget that you can watch along with our team who'll be ringside on the night of the fight. I was listening to this previewed with Sam Matface and Alex Crook earlier today on Talksport. Spencer Oliver outstanding in his previewing of the fight. It's heavyweight boxing tomorrow night live on Talksport and the Talksport Boxing YouTube channel from 8 p.m. or watch live on DAZN. Here tonight at Wembley, goalless England, Uruguay. Who really does want to go to the World Cup? Second half's coming next.
The UK
Rebel squadron attack. Pew, pew, pew. You'll never win.
John! Are you playing with the kids' Star Wars Kinder Surprise? Without them?
But I am their father.
Well, as their father, you can explain that you've opened their favourite treat.
With Kinder Surprise, you and your kids can play, explore, discover and grow together, one intergalactic adventure at a time. Pick up a Star Wars Kinder Surprise today, also available in Easter egg size.
Darling, hold my hand. Oh, won't you hold my hand?
Nothing beats flying with Jet2.com. Right now, we've got some great offers available. So book now and choose from our best flight times. And you can fly from Gatwick Airport to some amazing destinations and get 10 kilograms of hand luggage included. Jet2.com. Friendly low fares. Subject to availability and conditions.
Talksport Vegas app from your app store now. 10 times wagering applies. Rewards expire in 30 days. Max withdrawal £200. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
1983 election, she's won a landslide second term.
Police have been deployed to disperse crowds as the poll tax riots escalate.
Credit crunch is continuing to spread from the USA.
Britain has left the European Union. I mean, the list goes on. Boris, Liz,
We've
Rishi.
helped Britain invest through 45 years of change. That's why we're the UK's #1 investment and savings platform, trusted by 2 million people. Hargreaves Lansdown, helping Britain invest through it all. Investment returns vary. For claim verification, visit hl.co.uk.
Mr. Q. At Mr. Q, we tell it how it is. When players win, they love Q. Like a Portuguese prima donna loves polishing a statue of himself. But when players lose, they hate Q. Like a last-minute VAR controversy. Mr. Q, the casino you love to hate. And you'll love 100 free spins on Big Bass Splash with your first deposit. Play at mrq.com or on the app. UK 18 plus residents only. Minimum £10 first deposit. 10p per spin. Free spins must be used within 48 hours of depositing. All winnings paid in cash. T's and C's apply. Play safely.
With LV, I can get my home insurance from just £133. They've made it easy for me to get a great price. And their 24/7 emergency helpline lets me look after what matters to me. Because insurance is simple when it's me and LV.
No wonder we're rated excellent on Trustpilot. Get your quote today at lv.com. 10% of new customers paid £133 or less July to December 2025. LV General Insurance is part of Allianz.
What makes a good bet? At Virgin Bet, we think it's a simple bet, a responsible bet, a last-minute winner when you're down to 10 men kind of bet, with generous offers. A bet that puts sport first. Sound like your kind of bet? Then you're ready to get started. Sign up and new members get £30 in free sports bets when you bet £10. Virgin Bet, a good bet. £10 sports bet settled in first 14 days. 1.5 minimum odds. Free bets valid 7 days. T's and C's and deposit exclusions apply. Bet responsibly. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
There are many reasons to listen to Talksport's Weekend Sports Breakfast, but here are 5 for a start.
1.
Hear all the build-up to another huge weekend of top-flight football.
2.
Get the latest team news.
3.
Hear big-name interviews.
4.
Have your say on the issues of the day.
5.
Get top-class analysis from Shabana Hearn and Tony Cascarino. The Weekend Sports Breakfast, every Saturday and Sunday morning from 6 on Talksport, with the Volkswagen Transporter from Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, working with you.
More fun than paying your gas bill. Kick off live on Talksport.
The latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live. Hosts Matt Ford and Alex Brooker speak to the former England captain, Stuart Pearce. Don't know if you've heard of him. All about defenders ahead of the World Cup this summer and why having a strong defence will always be more important than having a strong attack. It's How to Win the World Cup, available via your usual podcast provider. Talking of good defenders, Virgil van Dijk has scored for the Netherlands. They're one apiece with Norway this evening in another friendly, both heading off to the World Cup this summer. And talking of bad defences, Rugby League, Hull KR 30, St Helens 0. Is just ridiculous. York 10, Wakefield 12 in the other one. Let's have a look at the England teaser. Jim Proudfoot set us earlier. What was it? This is the... No, you tell us what it was. What was the question?
So over the last 7 years, England have played 84 successive games with only 1 up front. So it's 84 games in a row since they last played with 2 up front. Now, tonight Dom Solanke is leading the line. It's the first time that he's led the line. Who are the previous 7 players to play up front for England in that number 9 position from the start of the game?
Okay.
So,
Stuart Pearce had a lot of them straight away, didn't you, Stu?
Well, I had a lot of names written down. Whether they were the ones, we had Kane, we had Watkins, we had Bellingham.
Bellingham.
And Calvert-Lewin.
Well done. So Bellingham, I think, is the hard one. So Jude did it once as a false 9 in the home defeat of Greece under Lee Carsley in that 2-1 defeat, and I thought that would be the one that you didn't get. So Harry, in those 83 previous games, Harry Kane has played up front 66 times. Ollie Watkins 7, Jude Bellingham 1, Dom Calvert-Lewin 5. So that leaves you with another 3 players that you need.
Not Marcus Rashford?
Not Marcus Rashford. So Rashford has, but not within that time frame.
Okay, interesting. We shall...
Has Bowen led the line on that?
Jared hasn't, no, not from the start of the game.
Okay, you're just throwing in names now. You all right? Okay. Do you want some more?
It's called playing the quiz.
Oh, no, okay.
Guy.
Well, no, just wondering where you're going with it. We shall continue. When are you giving the answer?
I'll give the answer just past the midway stage of the second half, I guess.
Okay. Struggling with that one. We know that one of the subs is going to be Henderson coming off, Adam Wharton coming on. Elliot Anderson's nailed on. He's here watching tonight. They're all having a good laugh. Those 11 who are coming back into the squad, they're all having a good laugh at something on Elliot Anderson's phone during that first half. I wonder what that was. Probably don't want to know. But Adam Wharton coming on, good chance for him.
Yeah, very good. In all honesty, probably we spoke about turnovers of substitutes, and I didn't really see the point in playing Henderson more than 45 minutes. I think it makes good sense to have a look at Wharton.
Yeah, it'll be quieter out there, that's for sure. Because he said a lot in that first half to teammates and to the referee as well. Jordan Henderson coming off. Let's get you to the second half. Players are back out there. It is England 0, Uruguay 0. Come on, play a bit better. Entertain us. Do something. Get yourselves to the World Cup. England 0, Uruguay 0. Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot.
So Adam Wharton, who made his full debut in England's last game in Albania some 17 months after first appearing in an England shirt. A really impressive performance, you might remember, in Newcastle against Bosnia in a pre-tournament friendly nearly a couple of years ago. And he's on here. Is Wharton for his fourth international appearance. He's made more than 40 appearances for Palace over the course of the season. And has started all but 4 of their Premier League games. He's coming on. I don't think he's going to be the only player that's going to be introduced by England at this stage, or is he? Yeah, it might actually just be Wharton. So Wharton for Henderson. The only change that's being made right now. England still have another 6 substitutions that they can make. They line up Trafford in goal, Livramento, Tamori, Maguire and Spence, Garner, Wharton and Foden, Bowen, who came on for Madueke in the first half, Solanke and Rashford. That's the front 3. England red shirts, dark blue shorts, and they're kicking from right to left here at Wembley. Uruguay have got us back underway. They haven't made any further changes. Forced into one in the first half after the left back got injured. And they're in the sky blue shirts with black shorts. The return of Fernando Muslera kicking the ball straight into Solanke, who is pressing him. And he goes out for a throw that will be taken in the right back position by Varela. Alongside him in the back line, Araujo, Jimenez and Oliveira. And then Valverde, Ugarte and Arrascaeta in midfield. Maxi Araujo and Canobio out wide. And Aguirre, who's hardly had a kick, is playing through the middle. England with Harry Maguire. He's only 10 yards or so outside the Uruguayan penalty area. As he plays it down for Jed Spence. Spence back to Maguire. Wharton showing for the ball in midfield. Maguire mixing it up a bit. Didn't see much of that in the first half. Long diagonal out towards Jared Bowen, who worked it in. He did well to wrap a right foot around his marker and deliver across the length. He couldn't get to it. And it's cleared out of play for an England throw.
Yeah, good diagonal ball there from Maguire. And it's probably something that England need to do a little bit more readily. I think Uruguay are quite pleased when they drop back into slot and see England in front of them. They've got to turn them round on the odd occasion.
Here's Madueke again. Sliding challenge from Varela. Wins it back. Gets it away from Garner. So a quick look over his shoulder to see who is where. Araujo playing it now towards Ugarte. England turn it over again. Solanke. Rashford. Probably the star performer for England in that first 45 minutes. Back now for Wharton, who's wearing 4 this evening. Into Phil Foden. If there was a question mark over Foden's involvement in the World Cup squad, it'd be interesting to get Stuart's views as the second half progresses, whether that question mark has eased or intensified in Thomas Tuchel's mind, in his opinion. The Valverde given away on the edge of the penalty area. Wharton to his right hand side. Foden trying to make something happen, slips it down towards Jared Bowen, who's got Livramento making a run to his right, and he's turned it into the path of the Newcastle player now. It's another paper aeroplane, just drifts down almost onto the black hoardings around the side of the pitch. England getting it forward. It's Wharton on the edge of the penalty area, took a touch back inside, went down, and the referee just waves him back up, says it was no foul, and Uruguay clear and Maguire will mop it up.
Yeah, not for the first time this evening. I thought that was a woeful decision by the referee. Looked as though Wharton had been taken down in a very, very dangerous position.
There have been some strange ones tonight. There was one in the first half where Sven Jablonski was looking straight at an incident where an England player clearly was pulled to the ground and he just allowed play to go on.
Yeah, it was on Livramento, and just declined that one. This one looked even more clear-cut.
Uruguay standing firm at the back. England with a proud record, having scored in each of their last 20 games since a 0-0 draw against Slovenia back in the Euros. In fact, that's their best run of scoring in consecutive games since the 1950s. But not too many signs that run's going to be extended this evening. Not yet, anyway. Long time to go, of course. You would talk sport. And we're 3.5 minutes into the second half at Wembley, where it is still 0-0. Araujo will bring it forward. But remember, this is a Uruguayan side that the States hit for 5 back in November, with a not dissimilar defensive unit that day. Uruguay will be able to work it forward here for Varela. Checks back and gets away from Rashford. And then Foden almost able to win it, and Araujo going in really strong, and that was a poor challenge, and Tuchel is furious, and he's right in the face of the fourth official, Benjamin Brand, complaining about that challenge. And he went in high and late, did Araujo, on Phil Foden, who is down and writhing in pain.
I've got to say, I didn't see it that way. I saw Phil Foden sort of put the brakes on a little bit and come out worse on the back of it, to be quite honest with you. Let's have a look at the replay and see what we think. Yeah, there was definitely a follow-through there, but honestly, if you don't go full-blooded into a challenge, you can come out worse and injure yourself a lot worse, and I think that's what's happened. He's put the brakes on a little bit, and he's been caught on the follow-through.
Well, Araujo played the ball, and in fact, nutmegged Foden, but had come in from a long way out and was not in control of the challenge, and his right foot has gone right onto the left ankle of Phil Foden. Now the VAR, and we do have VAR for these friendlies, Soren Storks, I'm sure he will have had a look at that, but there's no hint that they're not happy with the on-field decision and that a card is going to be administered, or a red card is going to be administered. The referee didn't even think it warranted a yellow card. In fact, I'm not even convinced he's given a free kick.
No, I don't think he did. I mean, to be honest with you, 2 players have gone for a ball that had fell. I would say that Phil Foden was favourite to get there first. He's put the brakes on, didn't want a physical contact, and on the back of that, Araujo was the only one who said, you know what, I want this ball and I'm going for it, and he's literally done that, and that can be the complications of not going in full-blooded and dangling a leg, which we've seen many, many times over many generations, Jim.
Well, Araujo has come across to offer a hand of apology to Phil Foden, who is back on his feet and is able to weight bear on that ankle. And so it looks as though after a couple of minutes of treatment he's okay. And there's another pat on the back from Araujo. What does appear to be a completely genuine apology. But he did win the ball. There's no doubt that he won the ball, Araujo, but it was his follow-through that so incensed Thomas Tuchel. Play will restart with a drop ball, just to reiterate that the referee didn't think the challenge was a foul at all. Maguire has gone back for his goalkeeper Trafford, who will play out towards Tomori. Had 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half, and could be in for a bit here as well. Maguire back for Trafford. Trafford playing out past Aguirre. Oh, Maguire almost lost it, but was just able to poke it forward towards Garner, who did well to show for it and just give Maguire a passing option. Then the ball played through. Solanke's done well to hold that up away from Araujo. Feeds Wharton, good ball through, but Rashford couldn't quite get there because Araujo coming back just got his angles right to be able to effect the block. And he not done so. Rashford was in. Free kick given to Uruguay inside the centre circle, and Foden's okay, and he's back on the field. We played 7 minutes of the second half. It's 0-0.
Yeah, I think probably the ball from Wharton, whilst it wasn't a bad ball, it probably need to have a bit more loft to take out the defenders en route.
Not much discernible difference at the start of the second half to what we saw in the first, apart from Maguire showing more of a willingness to mix it up a little bit with that long diagonal ball, but largely speaking it has been similar fare to what we've seen so far.
we've talked about the scenario about how do you break teams down on a low block, and we've got that scenario today with teams sort of Uruguay saying, well, you can have it in front of us. How do we break that down?
That's something that England may well have to deal with on 3 or 4 occasions in the World Cup. Here's Foden, got a shot in, but it really was a low scuffer that had no energy. He was off balance when he hit it, and he didn't hit it cleanly, and Muslera could bend down, had all the time in the world to be able to pick it up and just bowl it out again. For Araujo to Varela and straight back again, and now worked across to Jimenez inside his penalty area, and out to Oliveira, who's playing at left back, having started the game at centre half. Foden's got it now. Foden running towards the edge of the penalty area. Lay off from him to Rashford. Good challenge coming in from De Arrascaeta. Maxi Araujo will make his way forward towards halfway. It's Valverde coming forward in possession for Uruguay. Now towards Maxi Araujo. Back for Valverde again. The best ball from him. Looking for Ugarte, who does get it to his feet now. He just stops and turns and slows things down to walking pace before Araujo will come forward into England territory. 0-0.
I'm looking at Phil Foden here, and I don't know whether, we're seeing Palmer getting warmed up at the moment, whether it was a like for like, but I've got a feeling that last challenge is done for him personally.
So Palmer is going to be coming on, and this was a change that we did anticipate at some stage, maybe a little bit later in the second half than this, but Palmer for Foden always seemed as though it was in the book. And similarly, Calvert-Lewin for Solanke, and Calvert-Lewin is ready. The Leeds man will be on in a moment, and it would be very surprising if it wasn't Solanke that was replaced in his full international debut. So that double change is imminent, and that means that England will have one more junction left in this second half to make the 4 remaining changes that they have at their disposal. Foden's got it now, finding Rashford. This is better approach play from England. Rashford just turned his side, ran down a blind alley when he had players in space either side of him. Just trying to exaggerate that space by bringing it through into a central area, and then the move breaks down as Uruguay looked as though they'd won it back with Solanke offside. So the changes will be made, and it is Palmer for Foden. That's the first of them, and I'm sure it's going to be the number 9 that comes up alongside Calvert-Lewin's 18. It is indeed. So Calvert-Lewin coming on for Solanke. So give us your assessment of the 2 players coming off, neither of whom have got a guaranteed place in the squad. Foden and Solanke, have they done themselves a service or a disservice tonight?
Well, if we're suggesting that Phil Foden had to put on a sort of 7 or 8 out of 10 performance today to really have an impact and send a message to the manager, I think he's been steady away within the performance, but I don't think he's given a performance to really catch the eye. Solanke probably done better than my expectations, I think, even though he wasn't supplied with any clear-cut opportunities. And sometimes these games just throw up the fact, Jim, that the players that are actually not playing are more valuable than they actually think they are, and that we know they are.
So Foden off, Palmer on, and here's a return to international football for Dom Calvert-Lewin, whose last game for his country came in the quarter-finals of the Euros. Not the last Euros, the 2021 Euros. England beat Ukraine in that quarter-final in Italy, and that was the last time that Dom Calvert-Lewin played for his country. All of his previous 11 caps coming in that 2021 season. Rashford making his way into a central area. Palmer's got the ball, and he's just driven forward towards the edge of the box before stopping. And laying it back here for Spence. Garner's drifted out to the left for a moment, and Maguire has played it to him now. Spence for Garner to Maguire, back for Tomori. So Tomori winning his first cap since 2023. Maguire his first since 2024. Calvert-Lewin his first since 2021. It's almost an England reunion of yesteryear out on the field at the moment. They're all players that Thomas Tuchel hasn't seen first-hand in action for his England. Spence back for Maguire again. Maguire's got the captain's armband now that Jordan Henderson has gone off. Ball played through the midfield, but Uruguay have snapped it back. Varela. And Ghana was in there shoulder to shoulder with him, has won it back. This referee has been letting plenty go, is always going to let that go. Palmer on the edge of the centre circle, picking up possession. And he has this ability just to be able to glide into space. Finds Ward, space on the England left-hand side now for Spence.
I'm just looking at Tuchel's body language there, and if I roll the clock back probably a calendar year, he had frustration that we weren't attacking more aggressively, and I'm seeing that in his body language. He's waving players forward. He wants us not to go backwards and sideways, but to go forward and go after the opposition.
Maguire to his goalkeeper, Trafford, side-footing it forward. He was near the edge of the centre circle when he played that pass on the edge of his penalty area. Then Maguire hits it briskly through the midfield. It's a difficult one, fired at Ghana, but he did well in the conjunction with Calvert-Lewin to make something of it. Rashford, Spence, coming forward now towards the edge of the area. Jed Spence, his devastating deflection. Calvert-Lewin tried a right-footed volley. It was difficult as it came down for him to really get hold of it, and I think he sensed he was offside. And Muslera can make the save and we'll play on. We've played an hour and it's 0-0 on Talksport.
Yeah, as I say, it's just that tempo of the game. I think Tuchel just getting frustrated about slightly there. As the game opens up a little bit, maybe more opportunities will arise.
Spence in strongly. Palmer to Calvert-Lewin. Back for Cole Palmer again on the edge of the box. Little reverse. And Calvert-Lewin tried to drag back with his right heel behind his left leg to find Palmer and didn't come off. Valverde wins it back and plays it down to the left back, Oliveira. But there's a sharpness about Palmer, and this is, as we were talking about before the game started, maybe the role that Thomas Tuchel sees him in. Someone that can come on and change a game, have impact against tiring defenders as games become stretched later on. He's only played in one of the last 12 games, and that was that really poor performance against Andorra in Barcelona back in June. But he's had some nice moments here so far. 0-0 the score. Trafford with the ball in his hands. Bowls it out for Maguire. Harry Maguire winning his 65th cap tonight. And his first for a while comes forward. Plays it down towards Ghana again. Ghana 10 yards inside his own half. Square to his right-hand side for Palmer. Palmer has certainly seen plenty of it since coming on. He's had more of an involvement thus far than Phil Foden did in terms of touches per minute. No comparison. Part of that, of course, a byproduct of the state of the game. It's 0-0, 61 gone. Uruguay showing no attacking intent. More than happy just to see this meander through to full time at 0-0, and what they would certainly consider to be a positive result against an England side who've come into this on the back of 12 wins in 13 games. Maguire turning it square across the edge of his own penalty area, and now Fikayo Tomori can bring it forward. Tomori worked into the feet of Palmer, who's been dropping very deep to pick up possession. Maguire can come forward now. Uruguay just trying to condense the play in the midfield. Maguire firing it right-footed over the top. Spence chasing after it. First touch takes it down towards the corner flag. A sliding challenge comes in from Canobio, which puts the ball out of play and takes the corner flag off its mounting. And it's going to be out of play for a throw which will be taken on the England left. England still good possession. A decent territory, Stuart, and very few chances. It's a familiar story.
Yeah, as I say, it's been very, very difficult to break them down, and we've not found that formula as yet. I'm looking at Spence, and I think Spence has done reasonably well getting forward. He's just come unstuck a little bit with the fact he does not trust in his left foot enough. I don't think when he's got in good areas, and he has got in good areas, I've got to say.
Get your thoughts in a moment. Who should be England's starting left back in the first game of the tournament as Rashford tries his luck from distance, and a good block comes in from Araujo. Sees the ball spin inside the penalty area. Muslera comes out to catch it. Now, we updated you with the big news from the golfing world at half-time. As developing stories goes, this one continues. Tiger Woods has escaped injury following that car crash. He has been arrested and handed a non-alcohol related DUI. He's going to remain incarcerated for a minimum of 8 hours under local laws. And for more on that developing story, visit Talksport.com. But the good news, Tiger Woods has escaped injury following what police initially described as a rollover car crash. Uruguay making a double change. Aguirre coming off, and Viñas is going to come on to replace him. And we're also going to see another former Manchester United player, Facundo Pellistri, who made a couple of dozen appearances for United. He's now playing his club football in Greece for Panathinaikos, though very little of it in the Greek league this season. He's mainly been used in Europe. And he's going to come on for Maxi Araujo. So Aguirre and Maxi Araujo off. Pellistri and Viñas on with 27 minutes to go here on TalkSport at 0-0. Don't forget, after we're done, Adam Catterall and Carlton Cole will open up the sports bar, give you your chance to have your say on national radio. All the live reaction from here at Wembley coming up with the guys as well. Faye Carruthers, our England correspondent, will be interviewing Thomas Tuchel and the headline makers as well tonight, and you will hear those interviews live from beneath us here in the tunnel area at Wembley, in with your reaction in the sports bar. I would imagine you'll have plenty to say about the team selection, about the quality of performance. And Carlton and Adam Catterall taking your calls on the sports bar tonight here on TalkSport. As England try and bring it forward, Wharton was never likely to get to that ahead of Ugarte. Valverde gets it forward. Varela on the Uruguayan right has it again. It's just nudged back to him by Valverde. Make his way close to the edge of the England box before Valverde then takes over again. Wharton snapping at his heels, but Ugarte brings it forward as the Uruguayan supporters find the noise and bob up and down in unison. The 2,000 of them over on the far side. They're encouraged by what they've seen tonight. Certainly from a defensive perspective, it's been much better, and they're going to have a chance here as they win a free kick about 10 yards or so outside the England penalty area. It's just a rash challenge that came in, an attempt to win the ball from Ghana, but he played his man first, and it's a free kick to Uruguay 10 yards outside the box, left of centre.
Yeah, this might well be arguably their best opportunity, to be honest with you, this half anyway. If their previous shooting is anything to go by, we should be quite comfortable, but you just never know.
Well, they haven't had a shot on target so far, but England have only had 3, and we've played 65 minutes. So Trafford, who's had precious little to do. England's record without conceding a goal is now into an 11th hour. It is 606 minutes since an England defence was last breached. Uruguay will be hoping that this is the moment. Araujo has walked away from it. Canobio as well. Right-footed effort goes way over the bar. There's Gaeta, it was that hit it, and it was closer to the England fans behind the goal than it was to Trafford's top left-hand corner. A free kick in keeping, really, with Uruguay's attacking performance tonight, and it's still 0-0.
I've got to say, an awful free kick. Really was awful. The ability to miss the target by players is incredible.
To Maguire. 2 Uruguayan players putting the pressure on Spence. He's back for Maguire. He finds his keeper. Trafford out for Tomori. Tomori chipping it into space. And England have done well to play through the press here and will bring it forward down the right-hand side before Livramento is fouled. It really has been fragmented. It's been a difficult watch, this game. I mean, a lot of that is down to team selection for all the reasons we've talked about, and varying disagreements with the logic behind the selection tonight, which for one, I'm certainly all behind. I completely understand the logic of it, but it has been a tough watch.
Yeah, I think the manager had no other choice but to do exactly what he's done. He needs to find out about certain fringe players, needs to look after players with minutes, and the key is to get as many fit players fit and available to the end of this international get-together in a good period and have more of an indicator on where his squad's going.
OK, so here come England's final four changes. Now we're going to see Hall and White and Mainu and Harvey Barnes. That'll be the four that will come on. Harvey Barnes is going to be the first on. He hasn't played in any of England's last 74 internationals. He's only got 20 minutes of international football behind him. That was a friendly with Wales back in 2020. He's been courted by Scotland since then, but has declared for England, or reiterated his desire to play for England. And the Leicestershire-born winger is going to be coming on here. So Barnes coming on. Jed Spence, one of those coming off. Marcus Rashford coming off as well, and he's done okay.
Yeah, I think he has. He's caught the eye. He's got the ability to go past people. There's no doubt about that. And I'm convinced with that attribute that he's got, there is no doubt in my mind that he'll be going to the World Cup. I'll tell you what I would have liked to have seen. Spencer's come off, hasn't he? I would have liked to have seen him, Livramento to come off, and Spence to go and play on that right-hand side where he's more naturally at home with the right foot, Jim, because I think he's done some really good things on the left-hand side, but run aground akin to, do you remember when Trippier was playing at left-back? You know, he was getting forward, but always checking back and frustrating. I think he would have been better served going to have the last 20-odd minutes playing at right-back tonight.
But instead, it is Ben White who has come on for the final 20 minutes at right-back, and his arrival was greeted with boos from some of the England supporters after he walked out on the World Cup squad for personal reasons back in 2022.
Yeah, I think White's come in and playing that right central defender, and Livramento still tucked in there.
England have a free kick just outside the penalty area, and Cole Palmer has been fouled, and this is going to be the first yellow card of the game, bearing in mind the reluctance that the referee has shown to produce a card. You know it's got to be a poor challenge, and it was from Ugarte, who went in over the top of the ball. He made minimal contact with Palmer, but it looked bad, and Ugarte has a yellow card. So I'll just reiterate those England changes in a moment. We've got 20 minutes to go. The answer to the England trivia question coming up shortly as well. Here's this England free kick then. Two-man wall protecting the near post. Palmer might be able to fizz this in. It's about 7 yards from the dead ball line, over the top left-hand corner. He's wrapped his foot around it, swung in with pace, and headed wide. Well, that was the moment for England. Exactly the kind of opportunity that Dom Calvert-Lewin has built his career on. He swung in with real venom and pace, and Calvert-Lewin's headed it wide.
Well, I've been saying since the first half that I don't think the Uruguayan marking's been particularly good at set plays. Once again, the player assigned to be marking Calvert-Lewin threw himself on the floor trying to buy a free kick, and he'll be so disappointed with that. Just looking at a replay, Maguire having his shirt pulled off as well. And, well,
I mean, in a competitive game, if the VAR doesn't see that Araujo has got two hands on Harry Maguire's shirt there, you would be absolutely furious. Well, Maguire was incandescent nevertheless, but Calvert-Lewin will be so frustrated. He has scored 4 goals in his 11 England appearances. He'll be devastated that he hasn't marked his comeback after nearly 5 years out of the team with a goal there. Uruguay bringing it forward near the edge of the penalty area. Still 0-0. England have scored in their last 20 games. Is that run going to end? Are they going to be able to keep a national record equaling 7th consecutive clean sheet? They've got a free kick here inside their own half. It's becoming even more fractious out there than it was from the start. And the referee has given the free kick England's way. And it just gives me an opportunity to mop up the trivia for you tonight. We asked you who are the last 7 players before tonight to play as England's central striker. So the answer's Harry Kane, Ollie Watkins, Jude Bellingham and Dom Calvert-Lewin, the 4 that the guys got. The others, Tammy Abraham on a couple of occasions, Patrick Bamford did it once, and Ivan Toney also did it once. So those were the 7. Kane, Watkins, Bellingham, Tony, Abraham, Bamford, Calvert-Lewin and Solanke tonight. The last 8 players to play up front in the central striker's role for England. And Muslera is going to kick the ball out of play here because one of his teammates upfield has gone down injured. There have been a few 0-0 draws between England and Uruguay over the years, including the 1966 World Cup. And this feels as though it's inexorably heading that way. 0-0. I can feel that you're just sharpening your angst for the sports bar. With Adam Catterall and Carlton Cole taking your calls after we've finished here. Here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I think we're just getting to the stage of the game and stage of this match where we're thinking, well, if you're not going to win it, don't lose it, you know. So, yes, it's a friendly. Keep chipping away, but make sure we don't get caught on a sucker punch.
Which could happen now as the ball is played inside the penalty area. Lewis Hall has covered a lot of ground to make sure that he is back there with Pellistri. It's recycled wide, a high ball in, and Trafford's done well. It looked as though he might have slightly misjudged that. He hadn't at all. And he got his hands up and took it off the head of Ben White to make a comfortable catch. And then balled it out through the midfield for Fikayo Tomori, and back he goes for Trafford again. 0-0 the score. England are looking for a 13th win in 14. They've only conceded 14 goals in their last 25 games, with clean sheets in more than 3/4 of the games that they've played in the last 18 months, 20 months or so. In fact, there have only been 3 games that they've conceded goals in since Gareth Southgate left. Hall chasing a long ball forward that was hit at slightly the wrong angle for him. And Muslera is going to be able to come out and claim it. 15 to go, Stuart. 0-0. How do England win this from here?
Well, I think probably the supply line is Cole Palmer. I think, he come on and he was integral in a few things when he first come on, and he's just sort of faded away from that at this moment in time. Will be key. And at the moment, it looks as though the Uruguayans just coming out of their shell a little bit.
Valverde sending a ball out of the left-hand side. The fullback Oliveira takes it down to what's the dead ball line. It's knocked away. He can't get across him. Pellistri's going to take a throw over on there on the Uruguayan left. The crowd just a shade over 80,500 tonight. In a game that officially was an 85,000 sellout. A few no-shows seemingly, but more than 80,000 on a Friday night here at Wembley, and they'll be back for Japan on Tuesday night. But we'll find out what happens together on Talksport with Stuart and Adrian alongside me at Wembley on Tuesday night here on Talksport. Valverde bringing it forward. England have lost 3 of the last 6 home friendlies that they've played, and Uruguay just showing a little bit more interest now in trying to attack. Now that England have made these changes at the back, Uruguayan eyes have lit up as Bielsa's men are looking for a morale boosting win that will do him personally the world of good, because there's plenty of speculation that he might not be in charge for the World Cup, albeit that it kicks off in only just over 2 months' time. They've got a big game coming up in Italy against Algeria in Turin on Tuesday. It's their final warm-up game before the squads are picked. He also might not be given the opportunity to pick his squad, but the side have been much better tonight than they have been latterly. Varela coming forward down the Uruguayan right. There's a lot on that cross. Should be easily headed away by Livramento. It is. Steered out towards the corner of the penalty area. Uruguay will work it back in again, and it's knocked away before Varela can get there. He's retreated after it, with Harvey Barnes snapping at his heels. Recycled through the midfield by Araujo to Jimenez. Now coming forward Ugarte. Back for Araujo again. Scaeta just went down for a moment, but he's back on his feet. Slipped forward through the midfield again. Another opportunity for Oliveira, the left back, who's taken up some more attacking roles. And it was Canobio. Pellistri back outside the penalty area. A little give and go inside the box, but the offside flag is up. Mainu had just step forward at the right moment, get his man offside. It's a free kick to England with 12 to go at 0-0.
Yeah, I think out of the England players that have come in, I think Trafford in his understated way has been pretty good. He's been pretty composed with the ball at his feet. I like his demeanour as a goalkeeper as well, no panic in there. He'd have done himself no harm.
Haven't had a good record against South American opposition for a while. They've last beaten a side from that continent back in 2014, which was a game against Peru. I remember a defeat of Brazil in the first of the March warm-up games ahead of the last Euros. Finding Uruguay a tough nut to crack, albeit that, as we've mentioned on a regular basis, some of the England players in the 11 tonight, and certainly plenty that have featured this evening, will probably be regarded as numbers 27 to 37 in the pecking order for a place on the play. It has been a mix and match side, but there'll be a few that will feel that they haven't done themselves justice. Jimenez for Uruguay, out towards Oliveira on the left-hand touchline as the final 10 minutes approach, and the crowd just beginning to thin out now. Some empty red seats away to our left-hand side, and a few more England fans leaving from in front of us. We've seen enough. The sliding challenge comes in from Wharton. It was a clean one, despite the protests from the Uruguayan substitutes who were warming up. Viñas has stayed down injured, but here comes Palmer bringing it forward for England. Just trying to slide it inside the penalty area. Harvey Barnes is waiting for it as Jarrod Bowen won a corner. The referee is immediately, once the ball has gone out of play, surrounded by a Uruguayan contingent who aren't happy at the challenge in the previous phase of play upfield, but it is a corner, and it's England's first of this second half. Bowen across to take it, still 0-0.
Yeah, just wrestled possession away from the Uruguayans, and once again another set play. We've got an opportunity to deliver into the box. One of those, you're not sure where a goal's coming from in free play, but we've not been convincing from set plays either.
So Calvert-Lewin waits on the edge of the 6-yard box. There's Maguire as well. It's a little flick header. Oh, it's in. And England finally have the breakthrough. Cole Palmer firing it in from the left-hand side. There's a congested 6-yard box. Little flick header at the near post, and it found its way through towards the far side of the penalty area, and it is Ben White that has got the touch to turn it over the line. Well, it looked for the last 4 years as though he'd never play for England again. Now he's scored potentially a winner for his country. Ben White from 10 inches out, and England lead Uruguay 1-0.
Well, I don't know who it was that made that run across the near post, but they certainly created that. Just looking at a replay now, great movement and a diving header, and it was just flicked on. I think it was Calvert-Lewin that made the run. Yes, it was, and then it was flicked on by, your guess is as good as mine, Jim, but it was White with the touch that fed it into the back of the net from literally inches.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin making the run, and he drew defenders out of the way. I'm not convinced he got a touch on it at all. Then as it came through, hit Harvey Barnes. That meant that Muslera couldn't react quickly enough. He got a right hand to it, but not a strong one. Poked it down towards the post. Might have been going in anyway, but Ben White taking no chances, tapped it in. He could not miss. The Uruguayans are still complaining because they feel that there was some grappling going on in the penalty area involving Adam Wharton. Now, I don't think that was a contingent in any way. It was Jimenez was the defender. I don't think he would have been able to get there. I'm sure he wouldn't have been able to get there to involve play at all. And the goal is going to stand. They've had a long VAR check. But now Thomas Tuchel, with a big beaming smile, walks to the edge of his technical area, punch in the air, and England lead with 8 minutes to go.
It's almost comical, really. The Uruguayans are up in arms with the referee for not identifying a potential block, yet the corner before, Maguire had his shirt removed in an attempt to make a run. Ridiculous. And well done to England, whichever way you do it. And from start to finish, I don't think they've been particularly great at marking at set plays, and we probably should have scored more than just this one that we have.
Well, that Ben White goal lengthens England's scoring streak. 21 consecutive games in which they found the net. Haven't done that since a run of games between 1950 and 53. Ben White's first goal for his country. It may well be his last. You would imagine even if he wins 40 caps with the scoring record that he's had throughout his club career, that he might not have another opportunity as good as that one. England leading 1-0. And Kobbie Mainoo's in possession. He's found Wharton. Wharton back to White, who's playing at centre-half since coming on. Popped off around the corner here by Livramento. And England will work it forward down the right-hand side for Palmer. Calvert-Lewin's in the middle. Waiting for the right time to make a darting near-post run. Araujo keeping an eye on him. There's no cross forthcoming. England have done well to turn possession over again if they want another corner. Officials aren't sure. The lights are on the far side. Points nervously. They're down towards the corner flag with his flag, and another corner has been given. England working the last one beautifully. Can they do so again and double their advantage and give themselves that little bit of a comfort blanket? They lead 1-0.
They really should have caused Uruguay more problems. Look what's going on here. This is just ridiculous. The marking on Calvert-Lewin is just, well, it's not marking, it's fouling. But the referee's got to get stronger on this.
It's Jimenez is the defender involved. Calvert-Lewin trying to get free, has got free, and coming around the back, it just fell between his legs. Then Lewis Hall rifles one in, and that's deflected back off Hall and goes out of play for a goal kick. It's well, let's just say strong arm defending from a player who's played under Simeone for the vast majority of his career and has learnt the tricks.
Jim, this is international football, the highest level of football there is in the world. The referee should be of a same standard as well, and so much gets ignored, and it's quite damning how the game's gone, really.
Uruguay are going to be making a raft of changes themselves. England made 4 a few minutes ago, including Ben White, who may well be the match winner. It's 1-0 to England, courtesy of White's tap in from a corner on 81 minutes. And Livramento plays the ball forward. Uruguay are going to be making a quadruple change themselves, and Darwin Nunez is amongst those who's going to be coming on in a moment. Another free kick has been given England's way on halfway and taken quickly by Kobbie Mainoo. And Uruguay a little bit slow in the midfield to react to that. The left back Oliveira came back and cleared his lines, goes out of play for a throw. That England will be in no hurry to take about 10 yards from the corner flag. Uruguay going to make their changes now. They will. So we're going to see Martinez come on. We're going to see Darwin Nunez come on. Nunez, who hasn't scored an international goal in his last 11 games. He got 10 in his previous 7. But you've got to go back to June 2024 for the last time that he scored. The man who netted 40-odd in nearly 150 Liverpool appearances. So he's coming on. Martinez coming on. Rodriguez is going to be coming on as well. The winger, Brian Rodriguez, as opposed to Jose Rodriguez, the fullback. It will be Brian Rodriguez, who plays his club football in Mexico. He's going to be introduced. Juan Sanabria, who plays in MLS for Real Salt Lake, who's the left winger. He comes on for only his 4th appearance. He didn't feature at all in the 18-game World Cup qualification campaign, but has worked his way into Bielsa's thoughts for the tournament itself, so he's on as well. So 4 changes being made by Uruguay. 3 minutes plus 5 or 6 minutes worth of stoppage time to be added on. And there's a further delay here as the 4th official can't work the numbers board. I don't know that they've played their way onto the World Cup playing tonight, the officials.
No, certainly they don't look as though they have, and Uruguay on this performance don't look as though they'll be a threat at the World Cup either. So there it is. I don't think I've seen Wembley empty out for a victory, hopefully, as it has at this moment in time, especially when you consider, yes, it's a midweek, but it is a Friday.
Nunez given some service immediately, beaten in the air by Maguire. Mainu comes back, trying to win it, and then comes in just outside the penalty area from Viñas. We go through towards James Trafford away to our right, who waits for Darwin Nunez to engage, and then he bends down and picks it up, and then with almost sleight of hand bowls the ball out immediately for Maguire. Wharton waits for the press to arrive, plays it forward. Mainu into space, but too far ahead of Palmer, who looked really lively in the 10-15 minutes after coming on, but hasn't been able to influence proceedings too much since. And then Livramento works it forward, and it's deflected and goes through towards Muslera. Well, if England win 1-0 courtesy of that Ben White goal, has that changed your view on the night? You can tell Adam Catterall and Carlton Cole your thoughts. They'll be opening up the sports bar to give you your chance to have your say on national radio. 03717 223344 is the number. You can book your call now. All the reaction from Thomas Tuchel and the England players coming your way with our England correspondent Faye Carruthers as well. And it's 1-0 to England. Looking good at the moment for a 13th win in 14 games, and a record equalling, English record equalling, 7th consecutive clean sheet. Muslera coming just to the edge of his penalty area, only just got there in time. Looked the overwhelming favourite to be there ahead of Harvey Barnes, and then put the brakes on. Now a ball is swept through the penalty area and bounces on the edge of the 6 and drifts behind Calvert-Lewin and straight out. Muslera's looked a little bit ring rusty, the 39-year-old, since his last international appearance 2 years ago. It's looked as though he's just a little off the pace on his return tonight.
Yeah, he done well actually getting first contact on that. If he misses that, or he's a little bit slow, in fact he didn't get first contact. It was Bowen who got first contact on it, and luckily for him he got second.
It's said to be a ninth successive game without an away win for Uruguay. First time they'll have lost back-to-back games since 2021, unless they can find an equaliser in the 5 minutes of stoppage time. Well, we're in them now. We're in possession inside their own half with Varela. He's played it through the midfield for Martinez. Out it goes to Jimenez. His ball up the left-hand touchline for Oliveira. Fullback waiting for a little bit of movement ahead of him, which Viñas provided, but needed a first-time ball, otherwise going to be caught offside, and had to then retrace his steps and get back onside again when the cross wasn't forthcoming. It's a long switch of play. Rodriguez sends it in high towards the far post, volley back across the 6-yard box and turn over the bar, and out of play for a goal kick. And there are immediate Uruguayan complaints that they should have a penalty.
Yeah, just the ball wouldn't come down there, being exposed at the back post, but there was enough England defenders there just to muscle out the equation. And Maguire not too happy with some of the tactical approach here of the Uruguayans.
They've still got a player down injured inside the 6-yard box, and that's going to elongate the 6 additional minutes. It is Viñas that is down hurt. Plays his club football in Spain for Oviedo. A striker that has got half as many red cards as goals in the league this season, which when you get to the end of March is a sign that it's been an inconsistent campaign. 6 goals, 3 reds in La Liga. He's okay, he's back on his feet. James Trafford only minutes away from a clean sheet on his England debut, where he had that extraordinary season for Burnley last year, where he kept nearly 30. Still Maguire and referee Jablonski having a word, and then Valverde comes across to chip in, and Nunez is having his say as well. Oh, now the referee's been called over to the monitor, and the VAR has told him to come over and have a look. Now that incident was a good couple of minutes ago, so they've had a long look. Was it a Ben White challenge in there? And the referee Jablonski is going over to the monitor to have a look at the incident to see whether it is a foul on Viñas.
And he's given a penalty.
And the Uruguayan supporters absolutely jubilant. A penalty is given in stoppage time. Yellow card is shown to White, and Uruguay will have the chance from the penalty spot to equalise, to get a draw, and to end this long run without England conceding a goal. The ball was flicked over the bar by Viñas, but White got there late and caught him on the top of the foot after Viñas had played it over the bar. And White, the hero at one end, the villain at the other, and a chance for Uruguay in the 4th minute of stoppage time to tie this up.
Yeah, there has been contact slightly after the ball, but both players have had their feet raised in this scenario, and I think the Uruguayans have been haranguing the referee for some time now, and he's sort of caved in almost. But a good opportunity for Trafford to make more of a star of himself.
James Trafford on his international debut. Can he deny? Fede Valverde from the penalty spot. No, he can't. It slid into the bottom left-hand corner. Not quite from Trafford, who went the right way. Valverde wheels away. Celebrates with real gusto in front of the Uruguayan supporters. And this is going to end 1-1. First goal that England have conceded in 630 minutes of play. But it's a stoppage time penalty that will deny them a 13th win in 14 games. England 1, Uruguay 1, White at one end, then conceding the penalty at the other.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Uruguayans deserve it, but have England created enough to actually win the game would be a question as well.
Good penalty from Valverde. His 7th goal in his last 6 games for club and country. And it's his 9th Uruguay goal. Just kept his nerve. Trafford going the right way. And the ball just drifted over the despairing right hand of Trafford as he dived to his right-hand side. And then from the kickoff, Núñez immediately putting pressure on Trafford as the ball was played back to him. Still a couple of minutes to go, you think. Another poor challenge comes in, and Thomas Tuchel comes to the edge of his technical area with his head in his hands. He didn't think that was a free kick. I think there has been a real element of inconsistency about the officiating tonight. I'm not saying that the VAR has got that one wrong, but I don't think that there's been a consistency. Now Uruguay, 10 yards inside their own half, have an opportunity to try and get the ball over a real high England defensive line here. They've worked it short, and England will have to shuffle forward, trying to condense the play. We're in the 6th added minute, probably another 30-40 seconds to go after that VAR check. And the ball is played forward and put out of play for a Uruguay throw. Are they going to be able to steal it here late on with 2 stoppage time goals? Throw taken into the feet of Darwin Núñez. Núñez tried to turn. Work down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Poor challenge from the sliding Wharton. Referee says enough of the ball was played. Now it's worked inside the penalty area, headed towards goal. It hits Lewis Hall. Another shot comes in. Maguire's blocked it. Varela drags one way wide. Comes back in from the Uruguayan left winger. That bounces to the edge of the 6-yard box, and England can get it away. Next phase of play comes in all the way in. Trafford will put his hands behind that, and England should get away with a nasty moment at the end of the game there.
Yeah, it is. It's become very, very loose all of a sudden, and Uruguay are sniffing blood. It wasn't for a wonderful block there by Maguire, but the ball's still alive in and around England's back line.
Valverde turning it in, and Maguire's been able to hook that one away as well. Now towards the corner flag on the far side. England hanging on late in the game. And the referee will signal the end of proceedings. Well, there's lukewarm applause from some England supporters, the odd isolated boo from others. Not a vintage night. It was never likely to be. With the side that Thomas Tuchel had picked, wasn't a night that was about a result. It was a night about experimentation, learning things about some of the fringe members of his squad, but not a night that will be regarded as an overwhelming success. Ben White off the bench for his first international appearance in nearly 4.5 years, scored a goal 9 minutes from time. but then in stoppage time gave away a penalty after a long VAR check that was dispensed by Feni Valverde. First goal that England have conceded in 7 matches, and it has ended 1-1.
One apiece. Actually, I've got to say that was a bit of a shambles of a performance. If only England could call on the services of somebody who could pull a worldy pass out of nowhere, switch play or break lines with some brilliant passes. If only we had that kind of player available to us. I don't know if there's anybody at Real Madrid can possibly do that, but no, he's not with us at the moment, and it maybe just shows that some critics are right, and it's a bit of a folly not having one of the best passers of the ball involved in the England squads. And then you get the Ben White situation where he comes on and he's booed, he then taps in from half a millimetre, then gives away a penalty. After he tapped in the goal, by the way, which we all thought was the winner, his name was read out and he got booed loudly. I don't think I've ever heard anything quite like it. An England Wembley crowd booing a player who scores his first England goal that we all think is going to be a winner. Never heard anything quite like that before at Wembley. An extraordinary night, really, but overall, Stuart Pearce, it wasn't a great performance from England, not a great game of football. I'm not quite sure what we've learned and what we've not learned. That's for Thomas Tuchel to decide, I suppose, but I've not been entertained this evening by England. I've not been impressed by England at all. I feel a little bit empty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's fair to say it was a disappointing performance, both collectively and probably for the vast majority of individuals. You would have thought, I think England dominated most of the proceedings, didn't really take their opportunity from set plays. I don't think we managed to end up scoring from a set play, but we didn't open them up. I thought when Palmer come on, he'd give us a little bit more, getting on the ball a little bit, but he'd give us a bonus and a lift. But we found it very difficult to break them down.
We did. Listen, you and Jim were, I think you're quite right, questioning the officials and were they any good. If we think the officials at the World Cup are going to be brilliant, then think again. If we think VAR's going to give us all the decisions that we feel we deserve, then we better think again. I don't think we should focus on any of that, barring a monumental error that sees England knocked out of the tournament. I mean, Anthony Barry, the assistant, has just, as I understand it, has been shouting at the officials down in the tunnel. Thomas Tuchel fuming at the officials in the tunnel as well. They need to forget all that. I mean, all that means absolutely nothing. They need to focus on their own players. That's where their energy should be, shouldn't it?
Well, without a doubt it should, and there's an element of frustration in there, I think, from the coaching staff potentially on the grounds that I think there was a frustration with the performance. I saw Thomas Tuchel, his body language is suggesting he wanted us to get the ball forward a little bit quicker than we actually did, a little bit slow on the build-up. I think that was a frustration of his going back a year. I remember when we had a chat with him, he felt as though we could go forward a little bit more, and we were a little bit sluggish on our build-up again tonight.
OK, I mean, listen, let's talk about some positives, because I'm pretty sure Sports Bar is going to be absolutely full of callers who weren't impressed with that. And I'm with you as well, I wasn't impressed. I want England to do well. As I said at half-time, I think we should have our best 11 out there getting ready for the World Cup. They need to play together, to get better, to compete at the World Cup. I think it's arrogance to not play our best 11 in a friendly, this second last friendly at home before we head off to the States. It doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. I don't think we've learned anything really. Most of these players probably won't be going to the World Cup, but in terms of positives, you're right about Cole Palmer. I thought it was a real positive. I mean, the ball he put in for Calvert-Lewin, he's got to head that home. That's got to be in the back of the net, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It was a poor miss and probably the best opportunity of the game, bar none. There's no doubt about that. On Calvert-Lewin's head, you would have thought all day long he's going to score that, but he didn't, and obviously we didn't have enough chances and test their goalkeeper enough over the 90-odd minutes.
And in terms of that second striker, I think it's been a great night for Ollie Watkins. I mean, Dominic Solanke, I barely remember him playing. His touch was absolutely terrible at times in that first half, and Calvert-Lewin was physical. I mean, he tried to make things happen with some difficult set-piece defending going on, but he's missed that sitter, so I'm not sure what we've learned other than probably can't rely on either of those two. In terms of the other positives, so Cole Palmer was one. I thought Marcus Rashford in the first half was particularly impressive. And Harry Maguire, I thought, looked comfortable, striding out with the ball as he used to. I think England have missed that.
Yeah, I thought Maguire was nice and steady away, to be fair. He's got big presence. I would have liked to have seen him done maybe slightly better from our attacking corners, but whether the level of delivery wasn't there for him on occasion. But Garner's first game was steady away, I thought. You've got to bear in mind it's not easy making your debut for England, and I think that was steady away. I was quite impressed with Trafford as well. He didn't have a great deal to do, comfortable with his feet, nice and composed, took crosses, got the odd punch there and whatever, and I think he's growing in stature.
Yeah, I mean, he's imposing. I know Jordan Pickford is clearly England's number one. That's not going to change. But he is only 6 foot. James Trafford is much bigger than that and actually looks, because he is bigger, he looks bigger in the goal, and that actually can affect opponents. And he wasn't a million miles off the penalty. It was just perfectly struck. Yeah,
it was a fantastic penalty, and I say he's gone the right way, and if there was less power on that ball, I think he would have potentially made a save. But he impressed me, to be fair. When I looked at him maybe in his Burnley days, I looked and thought to myself maybe he could get roughed up a little bit. I see someone who's nice and composed. Reminds me of Dave Seaman a little bit with his demeanour.
Yeah, I was impressed. He's got a chance. Listen, I'm not sure who else has really stuck their hand in the air, who was maybe borderline or we thought wasn't going to be going to the World Cup. There's nobody really who's stuck a hand in the air to say, yeah, you've got to get me on that plane. Listen, we're here in the tunnel. Some of the players are asking if the ref gave Ugarte 2 yellow cards but didn't send him off. So there's a little bit of confusion over that, whether he got a yellow card early on and then got a second one but didn't get a red. So we'll look into that and get Faye Carruthers is down there in the tunnel, going to be interviewing some of the England players and Thomas Tuchel into the sports bar, which is up and coming. But overall, Stuart, I think there's going to be a negative reaction. Very quickly on Ben White, to get booed when you score what you think is going to be a winning goal. I personally, as a fan, I can understand it. From a player's point of view, what do you think?
Yeah, disappointing from a player's point of view, without a doubt. You know, the fact is the supporters, they like their players to be totally committed to the cause, and obviously one or two of them deemed that he wasn't. But listen, well done to him for getting a goal. He's back in the squad. Whether he'll be in the squad this summer, you and I have our doubts, but time will tell.
Talksport Daily tomorrow. It'll be me, Stuart and Jim reflecting on this pretty shoddy England performance and a 1-1 draw against Uruguay in a friendly here at Wembley tonight. My marks out of 10 for the England players have been submitted. They will be on the website very soon. You can agree with them or disagree with them. I don't think I've given Ben White too high a mark, to be honest with you. So let's see what you think about that. Talksport.com for those. Stuart, just finally, we're expecting better on Tuesday, aren't we?
I wouldn't judge this performance until we see Tuesday. We're all thinking, we should have played everybody that's not here would have done much better. Let's have a look at Tuesday and judge over a 2-game block.
OK, wise words from the former England captain Stuart Pearce. Catch him on the Talksport Daily tomorrow morning. We're about to get that recorded. As for Ben White, he went from not wanting to play for England to being selected ahead of a World Cup that he's got a chance of going to, it seems. And tonight on the pitch, he got booed when he came on. He got booed when he scored. He went from hero to zero because he gave away the penalty, and that robbed him of the winning goal. Sports Bar Weekender is coming up. You can have your say. 03717 22 33 44.